Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Live on a Monday morning. I was going to say Monday afternoon, but it's not Monday afternoon. It will be in an hour. Adam the Bull, Tyvis, Brad, Mike. That's it. You guys don't get last names. Sorry.
Don't need one.
I don't either. If I'm not getting a last name, then you guys don't get a last name either.
That's okay.
A lot to get to today, guys. I mean, we are loaded. First of all, did you guys have a good weekend? Anybody have a good weekend?
Oh, my.
Anything exciting happen?
Great weekend.
We're going to talk about Tyvus's embarrassing.
Oh, my
softball game.
goodness.
Brad, good weekend?
Great weekend.
All right,
Excellent.
good. Mike?
Went to Columbus, hung out with Tyvis for a little bit. First time in Columbus, not too shabby.
All right, we're going to get to all that, but I got to read this tweet. Let's start off right off the bat. Josina Anderson, listen to me. We got big news on Deshaun Watson, I think, possibly. It could happen today. We could finally, there's the tweet. After telling me early last week a decision was not expected in the Deshaun Watson proceedings last week, but still saying never say never as a tiny caveat, a league source says this morning it's possible. Not saying anything else. That's all I got right now. Hashtag no guarantees. That's what is considered news these days, guys.
I know, right?
But here's my reckless speculation for you. The fact that obviously Josina is very plugged in. The fact that her source is saying it's possible this morning, this person's not BSing her, I don't think. I mean, she's not talking to some lame source. This is somebody legit. I don't know if it's a player source or a league source. My guess is it's a league source, but I don't know, guys. This sounds to me like we could possibly get news today. Well, I'm hoping.
Well, I've said all along, Bull, that this is a scenario where if there's a leak coming out, which apparently there was because she's heard something, that there's a chance that obviously the Browns know, the league knows what direction it is. So if there's some back channel action going on now, that could be going on now. But it's about to go down, right? We're about to find out the Browns are on the clock. It's about to go down. We're going to make some decisions around here.
Tyvus, we've been saying, well, she's not on the football calendar, but to some degree she is. I think she wants it. Everybody wants it to happen this week.
I think I agree with you. The NFL doesn't want to be that person that ruins the Browns season. They want to be fair. So in any cases previously, if something happens in the offseason, they typically get it done before training camp so the team can prepare. I don't think they want to do a Browns a disservice, so I think they want to get it out. I personally think she got the decision made. She's just too busy writing her statement.
I actually agree with Tyvis. I'm convinced that Judge Robinson has the decision made. She knows what she's going to do. Now it's a matter of her putting it in writing in a meticulous fashion so the NFL can't rebuke whatever decision she comes out with.
Yeah.
And that's what's taking these extra couple of days, not her deciding whether or not to suspend Watson and or for how long he ends up missing.
Well, so if you've ever seen these briefs are written by arbitrators, at the end, they're pretty extensive. They're pretty long. And so I'm not surprised that she's taking her time. Myself, I think it's like going to be a 6-game suspension. Right. Because I'm always baffled, or not baffled, but alluding to the fact that, Roethlisberger got a number of games.
I think that's the comp right
here. And
I
think that's where this thing is going to settle somewhere around then.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, be clear. The Browns know what it's going to be, or have a good hint to what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think the Roethlisberger thing, in the end, in the beginning we were saying it wasn't really a good comp, but it is, because ultimately it does seem like he is being judged based on 4 of these accusations, right? I don't think the whole 24 matters at this point. It matters to those women individually. But in terms of what the league is looking at, what she is looking at, we've heard, she's looking at 4 cases. Ben Roethlisberger had either 2 or 3, I can't remember now. But remember, Ben Roethlisberger was accused of rape.
Right.
He's not been accused of rape. That's a huge difference. So even though it's a few more people, a rape charge is a lot more serious than what he's been accused of. So I do think that's a reasonable comp. But let me throw this thing at you guys, because I don't think we've hit on this angle of it. Apparently when she had ruled on the Daniel Snyder situation, but it never got out there publicly what she said to do. All of a sudden I'm a little concerned that I don't know that she's putting out her ruling.
No.
She may give her ruling to the NFL.
I think Florio said that her ruling will be public. And I'll double check that, but I do believe that Florio had reported that whatever Robinson rules in her written response,
we will see that.
We will be privy to as the public. So I believe we will get an exact word-for-word copy of whatever she gives to the NFL and the Browns.
Well,
I'll double check that.
That is an important distinction because we did not have that in the Daniel Snyder case.
Well, they weren't going to let that happen. They weren't going to let that happen.
She obviously
let me tell you, with the player, they're going to let it happen. They're going to let it happen with the player. Now, the owner, they're not going to let it happen. But the player, you can guarantee they're going to let it happen.
Yeah, but the only thing I would say about that is the owners. What if her suspension is really low or nothing?
0 to 2.
Maybe the league says we're not putting that out there because we're going to suspend him more.
Well, the player association going to put. Be clear, it's getting out there, right? It is going to get out there. They want it to be known,
right?
Because if it ends up on their side, they want it to be known. What she said, if it ends up on the Browns' benefit side, that the player association is going to let it be known as well that they had no case. This is why not, right? So it's getting out there. Now, on the Snyder case, or any owner, they're not going to let that get out there.
Why would they do that?
No, they don't want that out there. That's why Congress is trying to pressure them, guys. But
I don't know, Bull. I think for some odd reason, I've been getting the hints lately that it's probably going to be low, man. I think it might be in that 0 to 2, 0 to 4 like range.
There was a time where it felt that anything less than 8 games would be absurd. Yeah. And now I think it feels like anything more than 8 games would be absurd, and I'd lean towards your take, Tyvus, that I'd be less surprised if it's 0 to 4 than I would be 4 to 8.
Well, Tyvus, let me ask you a question. What do you think the public is willing to accept? Because you got two facets in the public.
And that's the thing. See, the public has changed. The perspective has changed. When this first came out, it was put him under the jail cell. Right. He should never play again. Right. And now, as he would say in all his statements, I'm just waiting on the facts to come out. As more facts is being discovered, and as these stories is getting persuaded, it's like, for some odd reason, it's like, maybe he didn't do it, what they all saying he did. Because if it's the fact that he didn't get indicted on the 2 grand juries, that was like the biggest thing. Like, wow, y'all couldn't even indict this man.
I think, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think the reality is what I think he did was probably inappropriate, but not enough to get him suspended for too long. Right. I think that's the reality of the situation.
I agree.
Right?
Like, agree with that.
He's got the volume working against him, right?
Yeah.
He did, though, Brad. It was 66 at one point when the New York Times article came out, and we were all looking around saying, holy crap, 66.
Everybody reacts.
That's unbelievable. It's such a big number. It turns out they're looking at 4 cases.
Yeah, when you say 66, that's because I said hello to you. You don't know what that is, right? But what you do know is you have 4 cases out here that apparently are moving forward.
Yep.
And that in this case here, there'll probably be more details coming out here. Now, we all say this because people looking at it from the outside say this. What the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And so the league is caught between a rock and a hard place just for you even being in the situation.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think there are games coming behind that, right? Yeah. And the Players Association is sitting on the other side trying to make sure that his rights don't get trampled on because he has some too.
Right. Yeah, sure. And you know what's interesting is that, Brad, you bring up what's the reaction going to be? And I think in a lot of these cases in the past, I always felt like there was a political divide, and I don't want to go down the politics road, but I do think there was a political divide often when these cases would become public. It's like the liberals would just believe the women, and the conservatives would stick by the guy. It was often the case, and I feel like in this particular case, it's more of a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. I don't think it divides. It seems like everything divides on political lines, but not this. I think for whatever reason it's a mixed bag. But in the end, the public reaction shouldn't matter. All these suspensions in the past have been decided by emotion and what the public reaction is going to be, what the public can take. And I don't think, my guess is that Judge Robinson is not factoring any of that at all, and she shouldn't.
Well, she should not be. Yeah. She should be at the fact where she's looking at the logistics and the legalities of this case and saying moving it down in proper order. And I'm expecting in this ruling she's going to lay out her roadmap to why I came to this decision. Be clear. To Tyvus' point, I don't think that this is going to go much further, right? Because everybody's at a disservice here. And if you don't think she's getting the heat, I don't care if she go to the grocery store shopping. Somebody like, what you doing here?
Yeah.
Right? Because the football fans they come in all sizes, shapes, and colors.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you picking up the bananas at the produce section, they're like, oh, when you coming with that answer?
Right.
because we're going to need that resolved.
Yeah, and Mike, the thing is, I've been saying for a while now that this idea that there's going to be this public backlash if he gets a small suspension, that the league's worried or the Browns are worried. Nobody's worried. Jason Lloyd, in his column in The Athletic yesterday, did a mailbag column. You should check out the whole column. It's really good. But there's one specific thing that I saw in there yesterday was that somebody had asked him a question, how badly have Browns ticket sales been damaged by them acquiring Watson? And Jason Lloyd says, I've been told they've had more orders than they've had, more additional orders than they've had cancellations, which is obvious because the reality is that most people only care about winning, only care about football. It doesn't mean they condone necessarily bad behavior, but you're not hiring the guy. He's not in your family. You're going to people make excuses for the guys in their team, whether he did anything or not. Even if he did, people make excuses for the guys in their team and condemn other teams. We're all hypocrites when it comes to our teams. And I believed all along this would not affect the fan base in any meaningful way, and it seems pretty clear it's not.
There's probably a fraction of the Browns fan base who finds Watson despicable, and that's their opinion. And
fine, they're entitled to their
and that's
opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
But as you said, the reality of the situation is, if you win, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And if Watson wins playoff games, if Watson eventually wins a Super Bowl, they'll build a darn statue of him outside of First Energy Stadium, the new Brown Stadium,
100%.
whatever, because he delivered something to the city they haven't had since the 1960s. This is not a franchise with a rich playoff successful history.
Yeah.
And if Watson delivers something that they haven't had since really the 40s and the 50s, nothing else matters. Everything else is irrelevant at that point.
When somebody says that they're not a Browns fan, like I'm not supporting the Browns anymore. So, for example, since a kid, you've been supporting this Browns team all your life. And now you just up and decide today that you're not going to support them anymore. So they go on a deep playoff run with Watson. You're not, in the back of your mind and in your heart, you're going to sit there and say, I don't want them to win? No.
99% of those people, there will be a small percentage that will turn the team off forever. But it's minuscule. It's a non-factor. And again, those people have the right to feel however they want, but they also don't, and I'm not going to tell them they're idiots for doing it or whatever, but also they have no right to call fans that want to keep rooting for their team. And if you're on that high horse about, well, I can't root for the team now with Deshaun Watson, well, Kareem Hunt, we know what he did. You didn't stop rooting for the team then. Jimmy Haslam's business was raided by the FBI. You didn't stop rooting for the team then. I could go on and on. They have a special teams coach that's made homophobic remarks. They had a defensive lineman whose name I can't remember now a couple of years ago who made anti-gay statements. So, where do you draw the line? All of a sudden now you've drawn the line? I mean, I just don't buy that now fans have to quit the team.
Well, I'll say this to that Bull.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disparage anybody for your thoughts here.
Right.
But I will tell you this, and I said it from the beginning. There's only two people that know what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Him
and them.
And them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And if you read the various accounts of what's going on here,
yeah,
it's all over the map, right? And if you don't think that the chance of doing something as far as prosecuting him down in Texas wasn't on the table, and they couldn't bring those charges,
right?
So now that becomes even more cloudy. So what did happen? And only two people are going to know what really happened here.
Yeah.
And so you can stake your position, but I don't know where it's going to go, but I think that it's going to be split like this forever.
It is. We'll get back to this conversation. Tim Couch is with us. Anthony, what's going on? Bring in Tim.
Hey, guys. We're going to bring on Tim Couch here. Whenever we bring on somebody with the Gridiron Guys hotline, we have to do our little ad read. So, looking for a local roofer you can trust? Family owned since 2003, the Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofer. We exemplify quality work practices, are a valued resource for homeowners, and offer 10-year workmanship warranty. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection.
Gridiron Guys. We got to get that logo up there, right?
Yeah, Anthony, it's tough to read and do it. I had to do it myself the other day.
No, we're not.
I don't have an extra
it's tough for one
So
person.
we're down a few folk today, but we're not going to cheat the people.
That's right.
We're going back to Bull for the jingle.
Experienced, educated, ethical. Let's go, Gridiron Guys.
Can I get the jingle again, Bull?
Gridiron Guys.
There we go.
Let's bring in a Gridiron Guy. Here is Tim Couch. former Browns quarterback. Tim, how are you? Good to see you this morning.
I'm doing great. Good to see you guys as well.
Yes, so we were talking about Deshaun Watson, and ultimately, Tim, I feel like, I don't know if you heard, but ticket sales are actually up. There's been a lot more people wanting to buy season tickets than actually canceling. Whenever there's an incident like this, there's a PR backlash, certainly, but ultimately the reality is, and again, we don't know exactly what happened here. None of us do, except for Watson and the women. The reality is fans just want to win, and even if they hold their nose and do it, they're not going away from the team no matter who they bring in, I think, as long as the guy can help them win. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think that's the situation. It's been a struggle for so long, especially, over the last, 15 years or so with the quarterback situation. There's been so many guys rotating in and out of that position that, they finally feel like they've got a guy who can be, a stable piece in that franchise for years to come and one of the top players in the league when he's healthy and out on the field. But, they just want to see him out there. And, if whatever punishment is handed down, once he serves his punishment, just get him back out on the field and let him do what he does and bring that excitement to the Browns franchise and elevate that offense to the level where everyone thinks he can take it to. So people just want to win and want to see Deshaun out there and playing.
And I think the reality, Tim, is that from a PR standpoint, unless something new pops up, the Browns have been through the worst of it already, right? If there's nothing new, they've already taken the hit. So I don't think they're really worried about it at this point.
Yeah, probably not. Not at this point. Like you said, they've already been through the worst of it. I don't think, it is what it is at this point. Everyone kind of knows what happened. And, it's just sit back and wait. And hopefully, they announce what the punishment is going to be soon, before training camp starts. I think would be ideal for the Browns and, so they could plan accordingly. But, we'll see what happens here soon and just got to go from there. And guys got to adjust and be ready to step up and fill in until he's able to come back.
Tim, I got a question that everybody in Cleveland wants to know. Like as a Browns fan all my life and watching you as a kid, I got to ask you this question. It's been on my mind. The jersey where they have all the former quarterbacks, like all the ones that it doesn't work. Okay, yes. Does it bother you that you're on that list as is it like your jersey? Does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of funny, actually, because you see my jersey name crossed out, then you see about 25 other names crossed out. Yeah. So it doesn't bother. I think it's kind of funny. What are you going to do? It's just, it is what it is. It's just kind of been, it's an unbelievable, bad luck of, I think there's been some really talented quarterbacks come through there. It's just been, they've been in bad situations. They've had injuries. It's just not been able to work out there for whatever reason. But, it is what it is. So you might as well just laugh at it.
Do you think Deshaun Watson ends that list?
I think so, man. I think, if he can stay healthy, that's been the only question mark with Deshaun. If he's, obviously other than the off the field stuff, but, when he's on the field, if he can stay healthy, he's an elite football player. And, they've got great pieces around him. They've got one of the best offensive lines in football, probably the best 1-2 punch at running back in pro football. They just need to upgrade the wide receiver position over the next few years. If they do that and Deshaun stays healthy, man, I think he's going to be there and be a great player for a long time.
What's up, Tim? I'm on this side of the glass today, in front of the camera instead of behind. But I do have a question for you. Watson reported to camp with the other quarterbacks and rookies over the weekend. If you were in his shoes and you were at camp with all the suspension, anticipation weighing on your head, how would you handle kind of the balance of taking this full on, learning the playbook, getting your reps in, but also knowing that at any minute it could all be kind of pulled away from you?
Yeah, it's a tough balance. There's no question about it because you're going to be suspended. It's just for how long. But, at the same time, you got to get mentally and physically ready to play football when your suspension is over. So you can't just sit back and let the other guys take all the reps. You have to get it has to be a good mix in there where you can feel comfortable that you've had some repetitions in this offense. He's trying to learn a new system, just getting the new terminology. You want to get in the huddle, call these plays in live action, with a play clock running down. And, if you can spit these plays out, get up to the line, get through some audibles if necessary, things like that you want to get familiar with the offense. You don't want to just be thrown right into the, game situation without having that type of practice time. But, at the same time, we know he's going to be suspended. So you also want to give Jacoby and the other quarterbacks the work that they're going to need to get prepared as well. So it is a balancing act. And, it's tough on the coaching staff to figure out how many reps do we give this guy? How many reps do we give that guy? So it's kind of a touch and go situation right now. Like I was saying, hopefully they will announce what the suspension is going to be sooner than later, so these guys can figure out the reps and when Deshaun's going to be able to play.
Tim, I got a question for you and I was just thinking about it as you were just talking here, right? So we all think we know that there was a suspension coming, right? We very understand what kind of games we all anticipate it to be. Well, guess what? Maybe Deshaun don't think he's going to get suspended, right?
You're right.
Well, hold on. I want to take you a little step further because I pay the Players Association a fee, right, to represent my interests, right? And if I don't think I did a thing wrong, you can send me 5 games. I'm like, no, we're not going for 5 games. We're going to fight this thing all the way. This thing could get real messy. So I'm just thinking about it as you were talking. Somebody has to get to Deshaun Watson and start to convince him that it may be in everybody's best interest to take these games.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because this could go sideways. I'm just thinking about that when you say that. What do you think about that? Because you play the Players Association handle your affairs.
Yeah.
I got a percentage of my
That's
checks.
a great point. I think that is a great point. If Deshaun feels he's completely innocent in this situation, maybe he does fight this thing and it does go sideways. But, hopefully, it's just been a PR nightmare for him and the Browns right now. So hopefully whenever the suspension is handed down, hopefully he can accept it and it's not, more than he was expecting or anything like that. So they can just get it over with, get it behind them, and get on with football, and this guy can get back out in the field and hopefully move on with his life and get himself better, be better off the field. And I'm sure he's he's getting all the the counseling and the therapy that he needs to deal with this stuff mentally. I'm sure it takes a massive toll on you when your name's getting slandered in the media every day, and just it's such a large fall from where he was. The way he came into the league out of Clemson with everyone thinking he's going to be such a great player, and he was, to having to go through this stuff off the field. So that's a big thing to handle mentally. So hopefully he's getting the help for that, and he can get back out in the field and be the player we all know he can be.
Tim, last week the Browns signed Josh Rosen in the mix at quarterback. We know that Watson, assuming he gets suspended, Jacoby Brissett's going to start. Rosen probably competing with Josh Dobbs for the backup spot and then eventually the third spot. Josh Rosen is wearing number 19. No quarterback has worn 19 in Cleveland since Bernie Kosar. Do you have is that disrespectful to Bernie? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. You can't retire that many numbers in the NFL because there's just so many numbers you have. I mean, what do you think about another quarterback wearing 19 since Bernie?
Yeah, I don't necessarily like it in this situation. I think if that's going to be the case, if a quarterback is going to wear that number, I think it should be a special player, a guy you're going to build your entire franchise around, with Bernie saying, I believe in this guy. I think he's our future. I give him the blessing to wear my number. One of those type of situations. I don't think you want to give it to a guy who's going to be probably your number 3 quarterback, maybe your number 2 if he's lucky. So, I think it shouldn't be in this situation. I think it should be, like I said, where a guy's going to be, a great player and, go to Pro Bowls and hopefully lead a team to a Super Bowl. That's the guy you won't wear in that jersey. It's such a legendary, special number in the franchise. And I know I stayed as far away as I could from that number. I went with number 2, so I was way down the list, away from 19. So I didn't want any part of that number. But, so I wish it would. I wish you wouldn't wear it, but it is.
What was your relationship like with Bernie, Tim?
Fantastic. Bernie and I, we've gotten closer over the years. For some reason, when I got to Cleveland, Bernie and I were really communicating and talking quite a bit, and the franchise kind of tried to keep us away from each other in a sense, and I'm not sure, real sure why. Bernie, was, wanting to help me get acclimated to Cleveland, and also, just dealing with, coming in as a high draft pick and dealing with the pressures, and also some football stuff, we would talk about. So we talked, a little bit my rookie year and stuff like that, and he would come around practices and some games and stuff, but they really didn't let us get super close for whatever reason. And then afterwards, when I started doing the broadcasting, I was doing the preseason games with Jay Crawford, and Bernie was working with us as well. So Bernie and I got a chance to kind of reconnect and get closer, and we talk quite a bit now. So we're much closer now than we were when I was playing.
And I'll say this, Tim. I agree with you that front office should have cut that jersey conversation off a long time ago. When it's about grabbing 19, no, you cannot have 19. We give you 7. You can take 7, right?
Yeah,
and 19 is reserved for somebody. Well, come on, I'd be like, come on, kid.
Right.
We cannot.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say this, though, as it relates to the front office. And it's funny because when you go to different sports, front offices are funny. They try to separate you sometime from what they think a reality is. I think you and Bernie together would have been a great mentor towards you, is understanding what to expect here, what he sees here, and it's a benefit to you.
Right.
So why somebody would not want to do that? It's just like when a young player moves to town and they say, well, you moved 50 miles outside of town. Don't you come around none of these people over here, right? Because they think that's in the best interest of the club, but it's not. You have to learn from other people's experience, and I think that when you have an asset of people like you, Bernie, people who have been through the rigors, that's a valuable asset to be used. We have to deploy that, and I don't think all the times the Browns, the Indians, and the Guardians, the Cavaliers, I don't think we exercise that to the fullest capability all the time.
Yeah, probably not. I think it would have been a great situation, and I never did really understand why they kind of kept us apart. Maybe they thought Bernie was going to, try to get in my head and change my thoughts about, other than tell me something different than what the coaches were trying to teach me about how to do certain things or whatever. I'm not sure what they thought was going to happen, but I know Bernie and I just, we would still talk from time to time, but, I really kind of wanted him to, be that mentor because, Bernie's game was, he was so great at the mental aspect of playing quarterback, processing information, going to the right place with the football, taking care of the ball, not turning it over. He was great at reading defenses and reading coverages and checking out of plays at the line of scrimmage and calling his own plays. And, he was far ahead of his time as far as that goes. And he was a great mind at the quarterback position. And I certainly could have benefited from having a better relationship with him when I was there.
Tim, you mentioned that relationship with Bernie. Did any quarterbacks after you come back to you and try to formulate that same relationship that you had with Bernie? Anyone come to you as a mentor figure?
Not really a mentor figure. I talked to, several of the guys just, on a, couple texts here and there kind of thing. Or when I was in town, kind of talk to the guys. Baker and I talked several times, but not really a mentor thing, just kind of, the pressures of playing in Cleveland and, what to expect and how great of a football town it is and how passionate the fans are. And, just kind of getting them prepared for, that type of situation, not really getting into the X's and O's of, playing the game and how I would, prepare myself to get ready for a game. None of those kind of things. It's more just kind of, just off the field stuff and dealing with media and dealing with, the pressures of, just being an NFL quarterback kind of stuff.
If you could choose any receiver throughout NFL history that you could have played with, Tim, who's the guy you are throwing to? Who's your number one choice in a hypothetical receiver draft?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I would probably go with Randy Moss. Just the size and the speed and just a complete game changer, man. Just to have a guy like that on the outside, he really dictates the coverage, because it makes it so much easier for a quarterback to read coverage because they double team him so much. And it's simple. If they don't double team him, you just throw him the ball because he's going to win a one-on-one situation. So it makes the reads pretty easy, man. You look out there, if the safeties roll over to his side and you double cover, they can't cover everybody on the other side. So he simplified the game for the quarterback, I think, that he was playing with. But he would have been fun, man. And he also had that ability to just go up. Even if he was double covered, you see so many times they would just throw it up for grabs 50 yards down the field, and he would go up over top guys and catch the football. So that would have been fun to play with a guy like that.
It's funny that you say that because I asked the exact same question at Tyvus before the show, and he said Corey Coleman. It shocked me. I was just baffled.
I also wore 19 for the Browns.
I mean, you wore 19 for the Browns. He's like, Corey Coleman's the man. I don't know. If he had a better quarterback, he would have put up huge numbers.
I just want Tim to know that if you had Randy Moss and I was at corner, it'd be a long day for Randy. I'm going to let y'all know something. Randy ain't going to do me like he been doing everywhere.
Okay.
It'd be a long day for Randy.
Put it on Twitter. America.
Put that on Twitter. Put that on Twitter and see if Randy respond to that, all right?
I can get him. I can get him now. I can get him now.
40? He still runs a 45.
Tim, let me ask you a question, because you made a statement about wide receivers here, right? Because I feel like there's going to be a breakout season for Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper, what he was doing at Alabama was great, right? I don't think he's lived up to entirely that here in the NFL. But if I got to pair him with somebody, because I still think we are suspect on the other side of this, at the other wide outside. Who do you see out there, right? Battered, bruised, or whoever, right, that could help us on the other side. Because I can turn over to a rookie all day, but I like give me a veteran, somebody that's been through the rigors here a little bit.
I'll throw you some names, Tim. Like Julio Jones is still out there. T.Y. Hilton,
Right.
Will Fuller, who played with Watson, obviously is a little younger. I mean, you think any of these guys could still? You think Julio or T.Y. have anything left in the tank?
I think they probably have something. Julio was in, Tennessee a year ago and didn't look like the old Julio Jones. So you got to question how much he has left in the tank. T.Y. is a guy who's been extremely successful. You'd think he would be good in an offense like this. But, those guys. But, Will Fuller would probably, if I had to pick out of those guys, I would probably take Will Fuller for the simple fact that he's been with Deshaun and they had so much success in Houston. But he's just one of those guys that can't stay out on the field, man. When he's on the field, he's dynamic and he makes huge plays down the field. He's explosive, but he's always hurt, I mean, it's just that's been a frustrating thing for him throughout his career. But he would be obviously fantastic in this offense and pairing him with Deshaun.
I got one for you. When Odell was here, because he's a free agent as well. When Odell was here, Kevin Stefanski came out and said that I got to find a way to get him the ball. Do you think it was the play calling, or do you think that the shoulder injury of Baker was not allowing him to get the ball? Which one do you think it was?
I think it was probably more Baker's injuries not getting him the ball because, I think there are a lot of times where, we've seen all the videos that I guess it was Odell's dad posted or whatever, Odell not getting the ball when he was open. So Odell, he proved he still got some juice left when he goes to the Rams and, wins the Super Bowl and was a huge part of that offense. So he can still get open. He can still make plays. And I think they were calling plays to get him the ball. It's just when you're hurt as a quarterback, then you almost feel like when you got a guy like Odell, you almost got to feel like you're trying to force it to him sometimes because he's so good. Run after the catch that you just want to put the ball in his hands as many times as you can and you just kind of force it to him a little bit. And then, Baker made some errant throws when trying to get it to him as well. He missed some deep balls to him. So it just never clicked with those two for whatever reason. They never got on the same page and it never became the type of connection that we all thought it would develop into. And I think Baker's injuries probably were the biggest reason for it.
Well, Tim, good point here. So who's when you see that your quarterback is injured, well, whose responsibility is it to pull who? Is it Baker's responsibility to pull himself, or is it Stefanski's job to pull him? Right? When you see things are not,
I think it's
going the way it's supposed to go.
I think it would probably be exactly. Yeah, I think it'd probably be more Stefanski's job seeing, okay, he's not making the throws that he's used to make, or the ball's not as accurate. It doesn't have as much velocity because, as a player. Especially, a guy like Baker who's extremely competitive and, he just had a great season the year before. You don't want to come out of the lineup. You don't want to give somebody else the opportunity to run your offense. And you want to stay in there and you feel like if you're 70% or whatever, 50%, you're still the best option for the team. But, that may not be the case. When you're out there and you're missing throws and, your shoulders, messed up and you're inaccurate, the ball's selling on you, you're throwing it over guys' heads that are wide open. You kind of got to, the coach has to say, okay, this isn't the guy that we saw last year, the guy that was leading us to the playoffs, the guy that was accurate with the football, making good decisions. And, this is a different player, and we have to believe it's because of his injury. So I would lean more towards it's the coach that needs to see that and evaluate that and take him out because as a competitor, as a quarterback, you're not going to you don't want to go to the sideline and watch another guy run your team. So I'd probably lean more towards the coach on it.
So how many games was Stefanski supposed to give him before he was to pull the cord on that? How many games was he supposed to get?
That's a good question. I would say, just a couple. You evaluate him more in practice, in my opinion. You see what he can do in practice. You challenge him in practice to make these throws on the run, get him out of the pocket, see if he can actually turn that shoulder and drive the football down the field. Force him to throw those deep balls in practice and see if he can actually do it. And, if you don't see it in practice, you're not going to see it on Sunday on the field either. So I don't know. I think, they love the fact that Baker was willing to tough it out for the team and he wanted to be out there and he was trying to fight through it. But at the same time, if the production and the talent goes down, you gotta evaluate that and say he's just not healthy enough to be out there to help us. He's kind of hurting the offense more than he is helping. Even though we love the fact that he's fighting and competing and wants to be out there, even though he's injured and not feeling his best.
Tim, I think you're more qualified to answer this question than any other guests we have on the show. Anthony, can you pull up the Amari Cooper tag board?
Yeah, coming up right now.
All right, Tim. So look at this stat real quick. Wide receivers with 7,000 reception yards and 500 receptions before their age 28 season. Randy Moss, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Larry Fitzgerald, Antonio Brown, and Amari Cooper.
Wouldn't have guessed Cooper was on
You look at that
yeah.
list, and those numbers indicate Cooper being a bona fide, legitimate number one superstar receiver, but the reality is I don't think any of us think he is that true bona fide number one. So my question to you, Tim, is what separates a really, really good receiver from a game breaker, game changer guy like the other 5 guys on that list?
I think when I look at that list, most of those guys are just, guys that, have outstanding speed. They can hit the big one at any time. Amari, to me, is more of a guy who's great with his routes. He's going to be great with the underneath stuff, almost more of a possession type of guy. You look at a Randy Moss and, Mike Evans, those guys really are making those plays down the field. Antonio Brown, they're explosive, with the football. So, I just kind of see Amari as a great player. No question. He's been super productive since he's been in the league, but I don't see him as that, game-breaking type wide receiver. He's more of a guy that you can rely on to be exactly where he's supposed to be, precise with his routes, getting in and out of breaks, understanding zone coverages, where to sit down, finding holes in the zone, those kind of things. But I just don't see him as that game breaker that you want as a explosive, true number one.
Tim, Pro Football Focus came out with their top 50 NFL players, and the Browns have 3 guys on the list: Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, and Joel Bitonio. I think you might be able to make an argument for Watson, although because he didn't play last year, maybe that's why he's not there. Certainly Denzel Ward and even Wyatt Teller are guys that could potentially be somewhere close to that list. The fact that the Browns have 3 guys on there and maybe another 3 that could be by next year, there's probably not a lot of teams in that category. That's pretty good to have that kind of superstar power.
Yeah, it is. I would think that's probably up at the top of the list in the AFC, if not right at the top. It has to be probably top 5 for most guys on that list. So, that's pretty impressive. And like you said, Denzel Ward is probably deserving to be on that list. Wyatt Teller's had, a great run here the last few years. With Deshaun, if Deshaun gets back out on the field and he shows he's the Deshaun Watson of old, then certainly he's going to jump up on that list next season. So it's a great roster, man. I mean, you can't look at that roster and say it's not one of the most talented in all of pro football. And, they just got to go out and put it together. They got to get all their guys healthy, get them out on the field, and start gelling within this system and get this offense, back up to where it was the year they made the playoffs, and hopefully even running better, and Deshaun can, take it to a new level. But, they got some unbelievably talented players at key positions, and, it should be a fun season to watch these guys.
Tim, in your prime, are you throwing for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns on this offense?
I sure would like to try. I know that. It looks like a lot of fun. I would be more happy to play just to have that running game and that support with, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That takes so much pressure off the quarterback. We really didn't have that great running game when I was in Cleveland. We had William Green came in my last few years and did a nice job for us. But this Chubb and Hunt are just phenomenal football players paired with that great offensive line as well. So you get so many opportunities to throw one-on-one against one-on-one coverages when you have these guys. These safeties are coming down in the box to stop the run, and it makes your reads a lot easier. You get a lot more shots down the field off of play action. Play action is much more effective. You get an opportunity to take the one-on-one shots on the outside. It'd be a lot of fun to play in that system with that offensive line, those running backs. And I love Stefanski's system and how aggressive they are at times, and pushing the ball down the field. So it'd be a lot of fun to play in that system.
Tim, last thing, I know Watson's already here, but when it was a day or two before you would go to camp, what were those last couple of days at home like? Nerves. What's going on in your head those last couple of days before you go to camp?
Yeah, there's certainly some nerves involved. You're that kind of anxious feeling. You want to get going. You're excited for the season. Also you're just trying to spend, the last few days, with your family, because once the season kicks in, your mind just kind of goes into pure football mode, every day, and you're on the grind for the next, several months. So, just spending time with the family, but also just kind of that nervous energy building up. You want to make sure you're prepared with what you've been doing all off season with your training and, working out with a quarterback coach, whatever it is that you were doing that off season. You just can't wait to get out on the field and see the improvement from, for the previous season. So it's I would say it's a lot of emotions coming into camp. There's also that it's camp, man. It's not fun, especially back then. The 2-a-days we were doing were not that I was out there hitting or anything, but, you go out there for 2 practices, a couple hours a day. I mean, your arm is dead by, the first week of practice. The DBs and wide receivers, they're hurting, man. They've been out there running in the heat for a couple days, 2 practices a day. So it was a grind back then. So there's always that kind of, you dread training camp a little bit, but you also really look forward to it because it's football season again.
Tim, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Tim
Thanks
Couch,
for having me.
there he goes. We're going to get to what the internet's saying in just a minute. Before, I just want to follow up on Tim and get you guys, because obviously you went to training camp.
He
and Brad,
gave,
obviously,
he gave me a flash.
I got a different take.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I got a different take.
What was that like for you? The days, like when you knew you were about to start camp, or in your case, whatever they call it for basketball.
It's camp.
It's
yeah,
camp.
right.
We played.
What was that like, huh?
For me, woo, man, I was undrafted. So every year when I came
for a
in,
job.
I had to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a grind. So I had to go out there. In my mind, it was like I have to be better than the next person because they're going to cut. Whoever's last, you're getting cut. They're bringing in like 10 DBs.
Yeah.
You think, okay, you break it down every year. They keep 4 safeties, 6 corners. I got to be in that top 10.
Are you looking at the depth chart saying, I'm better than him, I'm better than I could be him? Yeah, right.
1,000%. You're looking at the depth chart, you go in there, and like Tim's saying, all off season, I'm putting in that work. They say that the most important time is those last 6 to 7 weeks before camp start.
Yeah.
That's when you really want to get your body right, make sure you're hitting the weights because that's what is going to withstand training camp and everything. So I was out there drilling twice a day, lifting.
Yeah.
Man, I put a lot into this.
I imagine. I mean, that's nerve-wracking. It's your whole life on the line. I get it. When you, what's that like in the DB room in training camp? Like, you are looking at these guys. You're fighting for a job. They're looking at you. They're fighting. Like, are you helping them? Are you?
Yeah, well,
like, how do you balance that? Because it's your career on the line.
Yeah,
but
so,
you also want to be a good teammate.
So the thing about it is like everybody, you want to be the best. Everybody wants to be the best. So you're going to look out for each other because you never know what's going to happen over a course of a season.
Right.
So if you do make the team, you want to make sure that next guy is ready to go. And I learned this in Seattle. Where everybody took care of everybody. Like if you ran a fade route in practice and you look like you was dead, don't worry about it. I got you on this play, but you can come get me in too. Like that was the type of thing to keep everybody fresh so you putting out the best footage.
Yeah.
It was no negative energy inside. Like what it does is if you see a corner or a safety make a play, what it does is it turns you up. It's like, now I got to get out there and make me one.
Pushes
so
you on.
it raises the level of competition because you're competing. We're all competitors. Yeah. Like me and Brad was talking about off scene earlier today.
Yeah. Right. So that's like for me, so basketball.
You were in a different. I just want to set the stage because you were in a different position. He was undrafted. You were a high draft pick. You did.
Must be nice.
You weren't.
Must be nice.
You may have been.
Look, in theory, it was nice.
But you weren't fighting for it. You knew you were going to be on the team. But you didn't know how many minutes you were going to get as a rookie.
Well, here, let me set the stage so you're clear. So I was a top 10 draft choice. Right?
Woo!
So I'm ready to roll.
Go, Brad.
But I roll into one of the most vicious cities in America.
No doubt.
So, because in Chicago, they play sports a totally different way. So when you sit here, I rolled into a place, to a city that was looking to draft another guy by the name of Johnny Dawkins, who was at Duke.
Remember him?
They wanted him like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Till they called my name out the hamper. I got off the plane and they were on me from day one, right? From day one. So that's a different scenario. So then I got to go in here. I got to prove that I'm supposed to be here.
Right.
So I'm coming in already amped up. I'm like, so it's a different thing. You think of the top 10, you're like, it's great. Is it? Like, maybe Columbus is great. I got to work here. So then my second year going into camp, my second camp, the Bulls draft another small forward.
Right.
I'm like, they draft Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know this kid from Atlanta, but he's come to eat, I'm sure. So I got to work hard. I said, I got to keep this kid behind me.
Yeah.
And so it's a different scenario. So you have to make sure mentally you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have to understand where you are in the context. Fortunately for me, I was ended up being in a great situation with a great bunch of teammates that carried me along. But
it was different when you went to Seattle, right? You had a different mindset.
When I went to Seattle, I had just been freed. I was on my way. I thought I was about to bust loose here. I thought they would hold me back in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. Only to get there with a great bunch of guys: Nate McMillan, Xavier McDaniel, Dale Ellis, Derek McKee, Michael. We had a great team. The problem was, guess what? The situation I left in Chicago was much better suited for my skill set in Chicago than it was in Seattle. So now I'm fighting to survive. So it's a different scenario.
Yeah.
And then I was just getting married too. I just got married going out to that camp. So I'll be honest with you, I just wasn't ready to go.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to go. Right?
Did you get bad advice from people around you when you wanted to get out of Chicago, or was it all you?
No, Michael Jordan tried to talk me out of it. I was like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Michael Jordan tried to talk
Michael Jordan, who the hell are you?
Michael Jordan talking about. I said, you don't know what you're talking about, I was like, you don't understand this thing.
My time to shine. I'm the one.
Holding me back.
I'm about to be in your shadows. I'm the real Mike up in the NBA.
Mike was like this. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm quite serious.
Does he hit you with "I told you so" later?
Well, yeah. After he won the first ring, he was like this. Look, this could have been yours. I'm holding it in my house for you.
Oh man.
That's tough, Brad.
Like,
tough look, man. Tough look.
Mike, how was Division III basketball training camp?
Very
by
different.
the way, when I said training camp and I'm looking at Brad, I'm like, what's it called for basketball? Mike's like, it's training camp.
It is.
He did the same thing you did.
Same thing.
Division III basketball, the
It is the
NBA.
same
What's the
thing.
difference?
It's at a different scale.
Very different level, but I was recruited by a different coach than when I got there. So
Okay.
when I got there, I played for Jim O'Brien, who used to coach at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He came my freshman year, but I was recruited by Hank Smith the guy before. So when you got there, it was all positions were wide open.
Yeah.
Free for all. He didn't scout any of us, didn't recruit any of us. Come in, play. I didn't.
Yeah.
Sat on the bench first couple
How
of years.
did you make the weight limit? I mean, you looked. You really looked,
I was about a buck. There's no
Don't you
way.
have to have a little muscle on your body?
I was a buck
He
30.
a basketball player.
You get pushed around. Look at him.
Listen, I didn't play my freshman year for a reason.
Tavis found
For
out
more than one.
Tavis found out this weekend the basketball players
Can't hit
are
baseball.
the
Can't hit
greatest of
baseball.
athletes.
Man,
We'll get to that. We'll
stop
get to
bringing that up.
All right, right now we got it. Well, we're going to bring it up again. But right now we got to get to what the internet is saying
It's not funny, bro.
about Josh Rosen taking the number
Let me forget the
19.
TVs.
What is this?
And then we got to give our takes on that too. We
will.
We got to, yeah.
But first, I want to know what the internet's saying and then we'll react to what the internet says.
And every time we talk to the internet, it's brought to you by PCC Airfoils.
Of course it is.
Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions, starting at $18 an hour and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
PCC Airfoils.
I
All
kind
right.
of, but real quick,
That's a good one today.
I kind of like the quick cut from the PCC down to you. I know it's because
Yeah.
you're in this chair as opposed to this chair, but
Right.
Steve, kudos to you. I like that.
We could
cut.
do it from that. You could put that sign up.
Then you don't get
do it
G
that
Bush. Yeah, no, but I
way.
like
You got to
that.
get the G Bush faces.
I like the cut.
G
Yeah.
Bush faces are good.
I'm trying to do my
right,
best.
so what's the
G.
internet
Bushy
saying?
What is the
All right,
internet
so
saying,
we went
Anthony?
out and we asked the internet, if you
Yeah.
want to take the first tag board here, Steve. Should the Browns let Rosen wear number 19? And we got some
Or
responses.
should Bernie's number be retired? That was part of the question.
Yes.
Here we go.
All right, so here's our first response.
Doesn't really, want me to read it? Doesn't really matter since Rosen won't see the field for more than 3/4 of 4 interceptions, whichever comes first.
You know what's
I'm guessing the latter. That's from Daniel Hahn.
You know what's sad is that a lot of people are so down on Rosen, and I can't never say anything negative about him. You want to know why?
Why?
Because
He killed you?
I was in San Francisco, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was in Arizona, and it was so what happened was it was the
Yeah.
craziest situation.
Lit you up?
No, hold on. I gotta
No,
tell the
that's
world
definitely where
this.
he's going.
So y'all seen Any Given Sunday, right?
Yeah, of
So at the beginning, when the quarterback goes down,
Yep.
the backup comes in, he goes down, and Jamie Foxx on the bench talking.
Yeah.
All right, same thing happened with me in San Fran. So they like, Tyvus, don't even worry about safety this week. You playing corner, don't even worry about safety. Bet. So we in the game. Tart goes down with a stinger.
Okay.
So our safety, the backup name is Antoine Exum. He comes in. Boom, he goes down with a concussion. I just came off of special teams. I'm sitting on the bench, sitting there talking.
You in?
And they're like, Tyvus, you in? I'm like, what? So I go in the game, and I go in and I force a fumble. And it's like 2 minutes
Let's
left.
go.
Yeah, 2 minutes
go.
left. That's game. Let's run the clock out. We went 3 and out. Punted the ball. Josh Rosen.
I remember this game.
Josh Rosen gets the ball. I'm like, all right, Tyvus, listen, all you got to do is go down there, stop him one more time. They're going to be calling me a hero. Game-winning touchdown, man. He hits Christian Kirk in the back of the end zone, my coverage, touchdown.
It was a dime, too, wasn't it?
It was on the money.
I remember that
like,
game.
so I can't never
Is
say
that why
nothing
Christian
bad
Kirk
about
got
him.
the bag from the Jaguars?
Must be.
He owes you money then.
Man.
Lesson learned here.
Yeah.
There's the other side of hero.
Zero.
Goat.
So I ain't got nothing. If he want to win 19, he good in my book. That boy looked like Bernie that day.
And the other side of the story.
We got another one?
Two more.
Yeah, give me another one. Go ahead, Anthony. What do we got here? This one's from Jake Bullitt. He says, it should be retired, but as long as it's not, they should let him wear it. Others have worn it after Bernie, but as I said, it should be retired, and I don't know why it isn't already. And finally, we got one more on this. We'll have it in a second. It's hard to retire a lot of numbers in the NFL.
It is hard to retire numbers.
But
Eddie F. Hart, he tweets at us every day. I'd say retire it and honor him while he's still around to be honored. Should Bernie's number be retired?
it should have been gone a long time ago.
You think it should be retired?
Oh, there's no
The
question.
Browns have not retired a number of a player that's played since.
Let me tell you
all their retired numbers are from
Bernie
the 50s and
Kosar
60s.
had an outstanding career here.
He did, but not a Hall of Famer.
No, here. He took me through all my young youth years here.
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting it done. We hadn't seen football to that level here in decades.
Right.
In decades. So stop playing. He
gotta
carried the water here when there was no water to be carried.
I think if you're not gonna retire it, I think you should at least honor him by not letting another quarterback wear it. Because receivers wear it all. 19 is a receiver's number anyways in today's football. So if you're not gonna retire it, then no quarterback should at least. You gotta at least show him some respect.
I'm with Tyvis. The quote was in last week, and we asked him about Josh Rosen. He said, that's a camp body. That's it. He's nothing else.
Right.
You don't give arguably the number of the best quarterback in franchise history to a camp body.
Right.
The Browns have won 7 playoff games since 1964. Bernie's got 3 of those wins. Yeah. You don't give it to a guy who has 9 more interceptions in his career than touchdowns. Josh Rosen does not deserve 19. I'm not saying he should be retired. I think Bernie should be in the Ring of Honor. Not necessarily retire the jersey just because I agree he was a great career here. I'm not sure it was Hall of Fame worthy. He's not in the Hall of Fame, is he?
No.
But he's a great Brown. He should be in the Ring of Honor.
Right.
But it's hard to retire numbers. And it's just giving it to Rosen
because where do you go?
Off-putting.
I mean, they haven't. Ozzie Newsome's a Hall of Famer. They haven't retired his number. You know, Clay Matthews should be a Hall of Famer. His number's not retired. Joe Thomas, will they retire his number?
You know,
we talked yesterday. There's only 4 numbers that are retired. Sorry, Brad. There's only 4 Browns numbers that are retired, right? It's Brown.
Yes.
Not Newsome. We talked last night.
Lou Groza. No, it's more than 4. I think it's 6 or 5. It's Lou Groza. It's Jim Brown. It's Otto Graham. It's Ernie Davis, who never actually played for the Browns, but there's, probably would have had an amazing career. And then they have one other guy from back in the day whose name
I'll
is
look it up real
escaping
quick.
me.
Well, I'll say this. I think there's sometimes a standard with the Browns use that I don't think is sometimes unrealistic, because there have been some great players that come through here.
There have been.
And at times, you notice at Ohio State does the same thing. There have been some great players that they don't even recognize these numbers. Stop doing Bernie Kosar a disservice. There were a number of people that carried the water here.
Right.
Leroy Kelly, Bo Scott. I can just think of tremendous amount of players here that aren't honored here. But to your point, Mike, about the Ring of Honor, there's no question. We're not giving this thing to Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, Josh Rosen was a high draft choice. And so there may be something in the tank that we don't see. I don't know. But with the way it's set up now, he ain't going to be wearing no more than that overcoat.
He should have known that.
I just want to know, did he choose this number or they just gave it?
If they gave
that's
it to
the
him,
problem.
It's a massive oversight.
Yeah, like, wow.
If they gave him that number, there's a problem.
To me, it's bad either way. Like, I don't think Bernie's number should be retired, because it's hard to retire numbers. And if you start retiring every number of every very good player in your franchise, you're going to run out of numbers. But and Bernie is the best Browns quarterback of my lifetime. Otto Graham was 1,000 years ago. I don't care. But you can't give it to Josh. And if Rosen picked it, that's a bad job out of him. You got to know the franchise.
Well, he definitely picked it, because when I was with the Browns for my cup of tea, they was like, this is the numbers that you can choose from. Which one do you want? And I'm sure they probably
so it was a bad job by the Browns even giving him that option, and then a bad job by him. You got to know, don't pick that number.
Well, there could be people that hand out the jersey numbers that have no idea what Bernie Kosar. They could
that's
be,
true.
Be
that's
young
true
folk
too.
that not know a thing, right?
Yeah.
But how does no one in the room look around and say, something's not right.
Yeah.
Well,
There has to be at least one person in that room that has
Man, you
a
put a
little
lot
more
of credit
sense.
in a lot of people.
I'm telling you right now, if I was there and I would have been like, he ain't coming out. If he jogged out that first day with that, go see that equipment manager right there. Get him something else.
Well,
No way.
because where's the leadership within the team? Because the leader should have been like, whoa. You don't see nobody running around in 23 in Chicago, do you?
Right.
Hey,
No.
we've only seen
It ain't
pictures
happening.
from the first day of camp.
LeBron get there, he ain't getting it. He not getting
fans
it.
were fired
You
up
now
on this weekend on
22,
Twitter.
boy.
I'll be interested to see if when we get pictures from day
22.
2, if
That's
he's
your
still
number
wearing
now.
19 or if he's got a new jersey.
Yeah, I
on.
bet they won't change it. I don't know. My first reaction, honestly, was like, who cares?
The reality
I
is
don't
it doesn't
really care,
matter,
'cause I know numbers are important. It's never. I never really cared about numbers, but I didn't, play professional sports.
The number matters.
I know it matters.
Oh, the number matters.
It doesn't matter. And so this was a bad job by the Browns and a bad job by Rosen. As you guys have said, you can't give a camp body, a guy who's at best going to be the backup quarterback when Brissett's the starter.
I'm gonna tell you a story.
Number
I'm
19.
gonna tell you a story about a number, right?
Yeah.
So I'm at Ohio State. I'm number 4, right? Love that number. Right? Great history behind me at number 4.
I feel the same about 23.
I go to Chicago. Number 4 is retired. Jerry Sloan. I want 4 though. He says, you want what? 4? You better get a multiple of 4. You're not getting 4. I done took everything. Take 2 up, 6. All right, that don't work. I mean, you take 2 down, I'm going to go to 2, right?
Yeah.
But you're not getting 4.
Yeah.
Somebody in the organization should have said, no, we're not doing that.
Right. Yeah.
And that could have been
absolutely.
a player. It could have been a coach. But you have to create some hierarchy here.
Right.
And we're just not going willy-nilly out here.
I think the Browns have been weird, and when it comes to former players, the whole thing Tim Couch was talking about not wanting him to
That
connect
is
with Bernie.
very weird.
Like Bernie loves the Browns. He's he's well respected in terms of his football knowledge. Like a lot of teams use him as an advisor. It's weird how the Browns have kind of treated him at times. I don't get it. I don't know. I know there's that whole incident on the broadcast where he said something bad about a player on another team. I thought it was
Let me tell you
overblown,
something.
but
They rode his coattails till he was done here.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
yeah, they did.
Right. So
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
did.
I don't think we're being
He was a hell of a
outlandish by
player.
asking to say, hey, Ring of Honor, protect that. That didn't just go to anybody.
Yeah, there's been obviously the Browns have had a couple of good years here and there over the years, but since their dynasty 60, 70 years ago, he's given them their longest stretch of good play.
Not even close.
Right.
Not even
and
close.
so, the organization hasn't treated him as well as they should. And it is embarrassing that Josh Rosen's wearing that number. Yeah. I think you guys are right. We're going to get to Tyvus's thing in just a minute because we got to talk about the softball. Before we do that, I brought it up quickly with Tim. I wanted to get your guys' takes. The Pro Football Focus at their top 50 players. Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and Joel Bitonio all on the top 50 list. What do you think of that? And do you think anybody was snubbed? Tyvus, why don't you start us off with that one?
Well, the first person that I always think of is Denzel Ward, and that's obviously I'm biased, but I'm not biased because he really played really well last season. I mean, I think he did a great job of defending passes. He had a pick 6, showed up in big times, and always checked the number 1 receivers. Didn't really struggle with a lot of receivers last season, so I think that's top 5 worthy. I think Denzel is just one of those guys that just never gets the credit that he deserves, but he's definitely a top 5 in this game.
And I agree with you. I think that Denzel Ward deserves a lot of credit, and I think the only thing holding him back is he gets nicked up awful lot.
That's it.
That's
He
the only
does.
thing that's holding him down. But
Gotta
when he's
stay
on the
healthy.
field, he is vital. And I just tell you the other thing that I see with Denzel, his tutelage of Greg Newsome. So I'm expecting 2
100%,
great
great point.
corners here. I got to get the lockdown here if we going down the road.
Well,
here.
they're going to be G-New going to the slot this year.
So now we got so here we go. So as we continue to develop more players, right? So Denzel for sure. And I said Amari Cooper. You saw his numbers there just a little while ago. I think he's definitely he's close to having a breakout seat if he can get Deshaun Watson on the floor. And again, I say if we have another deep threat receiver that could break loose,
Anthony Schwartz.
Amari Cooper
Yeah.
is set for a great year, I think, this year.
Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Ward as the one guy who you could argue was snubbed, but they only had 3 cornerbacks on the list in total, which I feel is a disrespect to the position because I feel like DBs.
It's the hardest position
if
in
not the
football.
hardest, one of the hardest. Maybe not in football,
Did you
but
say
in all of
cornerback is the
sports.
hardest position of football?
Yes.
I actually
Are you
agree.
serious?
Quarterback is the hardest.
Corner is definitely the hardest position.
You do everything
Are you
backwards.
serious?
Come on now.
Tyvus,
Quarterback's got to do everything.
Oh,
on the
my
whole offense.
goodness.
I got Tyvus's back. You have to follow these elite athlete receivers, but do it backwards.
You see
Do it
Devontae
backwards.
Adams is getting triple
I'm not
teamed.
saying it's
What are you
not
talking
hard,
about?
but quarterback's got to do everything.
But it's more
Mentally-
it's mentally, physically. it's hard to be a
Physically,
corner.
corner is
Well,
hard.
the question wasn't just physically hard.
No,
I guess that wasn't the question.
I mean, I'm just saying. I think Ward was the one guy who you could argue was
Yes.
snubbed. They only had 3 corners on the list. It was Ramsey, Alexander, and Xavier Howard.
Alexander
with
was
Miami.
injured last season.
He was still on the list.
Were they basing this on their grades from last year or what they think is going to be this
A
year?
combination of
Okay,
grade and
that's why
projected forward.
Watson is the obvious snub because Watson is one of the 50 best
When
players
he's on
in
the
the league.
field, yeah.
But he didn't play last year, so obviously they held that against
Right.
him.
Yeah.
I also think Wyatt Teller's a really good player.
could've
I don't know
gone
that he's top 50, but he's not
close.
far off. I do agree that Amari Cooper could potentially get on the list. I don't think he's a top 50 player. I don't know how many wide receivers were on the list. There's probably
There
like
was 7.
10. Oh, 7?
7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a top 7, 8 wide
No.
receiver. So I think he's a little further off. But the fact that we can name all these guys that are either on the list or somewhat close, like that's pretty good. We've named 7 or 8 guys that are either on the list or belong in the conversation.
The Browns are slated to have a great season with great person if things fall their way. Now, I was on my way to Kentucky this weekend. I'm going through Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And so Cincinnati on the periphery is all set for the Bengals. I mean, this guy, I see more who-day signs down there going like, and we're getting ramped up here. So we should be meeting that energy here. We have the personnel, I feel like, that we should be a deep threat in the AFC here, especially if we get Watson for a long period of time here, not an extended stay off with a suspension. I think this team is set up. I think when you look at Chubb and his squatting and we got Kareem Hunt ready to go here,
Yeah.
we have the pieces here. The
No
question
doubt.
is, do we have the mindset of a champion?
You have the mindset?
Are we making excuses saying, well, it's
Just
going to
Nick
be
Chubb
another
and
year like
squad
last year?
extension.
I think that first game tells a lot because if it doesn't go well, people can fall into the narrative like, oh, here we go again.
Right.
You fall into that
I
narrative.
remember the Browns
and it
haven't
go
won an
bad.
opener in like 2 decades, basically.
And going back to what Brad said, and real quick, we just got to
Yeah.
hit it because it was in the headline here, but how many games could Watson miss in the Browns to make the playoffs with the rest of this roster that is so loaded? What's that number for you?
At the most 6.
I say it's a 6er. I say it's a 6er
the
because when you start getting the 8s and things of that nature, now you better hope that your guy behind me is really getting it done. This team is built for Watson, right? It is built for Watson at the helm. So that's why I went back to Tim with that question. I said, is Watson going to accept a long suspension here? Right?
Well,
Well, if he appeals it, does he get to play
Oh, he
during
gets to
the
play?
yes.
Oh,
Yes, he
well,
does.
okay.
I think if it's less than 8, he's going to just take it and, move on.
I guarantee you, Bull, that somebody better be in his ear because the
yeah.
one thing you know about this, young people don't always make the most. I just explained my own scenario,
Yeah.
right? And so somebody better be
They know what
talking
the hell
like,
they're doing half
like, hold on, relax here.
It's funny that you say that because I was in, I don't even know if maybe I told the story in the air. I apologize. I'm repeating my stories. But I was in Mitchell's a few weeks ago.
Good
and there was
place.
a million, what looked like 20-year-olds in there. It was like really late at night. The place was almost closed. And I turned to one of the kids and I'm like, why is every 20-year-old in Rocky River in Mitchell's right now? He goes, well, it's Mitchell's. It's great ice cream. There was no particular reason. He goes, and by the way, I'm not 20. I'm 18. I said, kid, it's all the same to me. When you're 18, it matters. They think it's the biggest. When you're a kid, you think you know everything. And it's a big deal your age.
Right.
Once you're our age, Brad, 18, 20 is no different.
Let's see. I want you to Davis do some more. Do the
Yeah.
work. I do the work. I'm good with you. Go ahead. Do your
Born
thing.
in the 90s.
Do your
He's born
thing.
in the
I know,
90s.
That freaked me
What's
out.
wrong
I was
with
like,
that?
No, there's nothing wrong with
that's
that.
not
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a
90s
little
baby.
jarring.
If you look at the
No
back half
90s
of the
baby
Browns'
slander.
schedule, by the way, that second half is treacherous.
Yeah.
They have the Bills, the Dolphins, the
Is that,
Buccaneers.
That's after the 8th game?
Yeah, it's weeks 10. Anthony, we get the graphic 10 through 13, weeks 10 through 13.
The Browns can still make the playoffs even if he's suspended for 8 games, but it'll be
It
very,
becomes
very
very tough because then the margin for error with Watson in those next. Let's go to the next one, Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got at Miami, at Buffalo,
was
versus
tough.
Tampa Bay. That's a treacherous 3-week stretch, for
Yeah.
which would be Watson's
Well,
first.
here
3
you
games
go
back.
to the first 5 games. I don't think this thing is easy at all. Right?
No, the first.
The NFL, there's no such thing as easy.
Yeah, but I
That's
tell
a
you what,
fact.
You better deploy all your
Yeah.
resources. I got Chubb and Hunt. I better deploy them.
Yeah.
I don't be use them one
if
at
the
a
rest
time.
of the team is that good, they should be able to stay afloat with Jacoby Brissett.
I think
500.
honestly,
Stay afloat.
Honestly, it comes down to the defense. If the defense finished top 10 or whatever they had last year, and it's the second year with a lot of them coming back, they should be clicking. Like, it should be out the gate clicking.
Right. Last year, remember, the defense got off to a slow start because there was a lot of new faces on the defense. This year, there's almost nobody new that's a key player. Like, most of the, except for maybe at defensive tackle, most of the guys playing legit snaps on defense were here last year.
Right.
The coaching staff entirely back. They are going to need to carry this team along with the running game, but they need to carry this team early. With Deshaun Watson at quarterback, you don't need your defense to be great. You need them to be solid. But without him, they need defense to be great.
Well, the other thing you have to worry about is this: game management, practice management. You cannot afford to have people hurt. You just cannot.
Yeah, well,
and so as you have to know your personnel, and so today, Tyler, you sitting out today. Take it easy.
No, they do that. It's called a vet. It's called a vet day.
I tell you who didn't used to do it all the time. Pat Riley with the Lakers and the Knicks, he'd run people right in the ground. Phil Jackson, though, Phil Jackson, Chicago, Chuck Daly in Detroit. Oh, no. Isaiah, y'all sit down, relax.
Take a vet day.
Take them days off because they playing the long game. The long game is I need you for the duration and not for the early. I need you for the duration. And the problem for the Browns is we always seem to be getting people nicked up at inopportune times, and then it puts us in a scramble. Beckham goes down with ACL. Denzel Ward goes down. Baker goes down, right? We have to be able to manage game and practice situations so we get the maximum out of our players.
Brad, you took them vet days if they offered them to you?
No, because I was always fighting.
I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I appreciate it, but I'm gonna be out here.
I got Scottie Pippen behind me. I'm like, I can't take them days off.
You get Scottie Pippen. They can't. In terms of injuries, I mean, some of it's just dumb luck. But
it's football.
When you look at the secondary in particular, most of their guys have been injury-prone players in their college and early pro careers. Greg Newsome's been injury-prone. Denzel Ward's been injury-prone. Greedy Williams has been injury-prone. These guys have all missed a lot, and maybe they'll turn it around. They're young. They're all still young guys. But yeah, that's what you worry about it the most is there because up front. Well, Clowney's been injury-prone in his career, although he was pretty healthy last year. Myles Garrett's been relatively healthy in his career, although COVID kind of messed him up a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it did.
So, I mean, especially on defense, you can't afford those injuries. At certain positions, you could deal with it more. Running back, if you'd hate to lose Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, but if you did, at least for a short period of time, Ernest Johnson's is a really good back. So, you could survive that more. But there's other spots where it'd be big.
Does anybody know of how we're on the vaccination situation this year?
I don't know. I think they were pretty good overall.
Nothing about that.
Because they're looking like, it's going to be it could be a doozy this season here with the way COVID's
spreading big now.
Well, they didn't at the end of the year. You only got tested if you showed symptoms.
They changed the rules.
So that's why everybody was able to keep playing and not go down.
The reality is they don't want
people
guys missing games due to COVID. That's the truth. They don't really care. But I think last year the Browns had a very high percentage of players vaccinated, I believe.
Yeah, speaking of backup quarterbacks, though, you can win with a backup. No one knows it better than this guy right here.
Yeah.
Tyvis Powell.
We did do that.
Y'all might have done something kind of important with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, we did win he was our third string quarterback, actually.
That's true.
Speaking of him, I got to do his softball charity event this past weekend on Friday.
Before you talk about it.
Don't give it all away, but we're going to hear from Cardell Jones right now.
Here's 60 seconds with Cardale.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? I don't know, but I'm going to say my favorite movie kind of collectives is Marvel. Love Marvels.
Favorite song right now?
Favorite song right now has to be... that's a great question. I wish you'd have warned me before you asked me. I don't know, but my favorite artist right now is Future.
You got one line from Future to give us? One bar?
You thought it was a drought. That's all I got.
Queso, guac, salsa.
I gotta go with that guac because avocado is a healthy fat.
Favorite kind of dessert?
Cheesecake, easily.
Hot coffee, iced coffee.
Don't drink coffee.
Still first to say that.
Yeah.
Dream vacation destination?
Ooh, Bali.
Dream dinner guest, dead or alive?
Dream dinner guest? I would have to say President Obama.
Was there one play in the playbook, NFL, college, that you knew if it was called, that was the Cardell Jones play?
In college, I'll have to say some type of quarterback power, but in NFL, I would say some type of deep shot.
Toughest throw to make in the NFL?
I think opposite field comebacks because you got guys that are guarding against other guys that are really good, and they are unbelievable. DBs.
Last one, funniest team that you've ever had.
I'm going to have to say either between Tyvis Powell or Ezekiel Elliott.
And you got to ask, favorite type of story.
Favorite Tyvis story. I would have to say my favorite Tyvis story, he got his first car, V Nasty. It was a Volkswagen. And I caught him coming up to the Woody Hayes facility, and I was coming out. And I knew he was coming because he texted, I'm about to pull up in my new car. He's got the windows tinted. And he was going in reverse, and he did not see, I don't even know what those things called, but in the front of parking space, and he did not see those bumpers, and he rolled right over. And we were dying laughing, and we kept screaming, tear it up! So that was my favorite type of story by far.
Cardell Jones, thank you so much.
And that's 60 seconds with Cardell. Man, I
Tyvis,
thought you were hot stuff.
V Nasty.
And then you messed up your car, your brand new car.
Hold on. I did it.
I'm gonna call your aunt and say you got a V Nasty.
Oh my God.
Gail Powell.
Oh, they were busting your, you know what's about that for a while.
Listen, that whole day was wild. The part he didn't tell is that at the before we got there, earlier in that day, it was me, him, and this other guy by the name of Armani. Cardale had a Dodge Charger. Armani had some type of Kia, and I had just got it was a Buick Verano. That's why I called it V Nasty. So we driving to the facility for the early morning session, and we racing. College kid, we racing. Racing down the
Buick. Go ahead, keep going.
And the stop, it was like we had to turn into the parking lot, but we was going so fast that I couldn't stop the car. Like it was too, like it was going to skid if I kept going.
How fast were you going?
Oh, we was pushing like 100 on the side streets, right?
In the Buick?
So in the Buick, that bad boy was getting up. So I try to make the turn and I roll over this curve and like boom, hit it. It's like, oh man, I might have messed the car up. So then later that day,
he's leaking oil.
No, I ain't leaking oil. Later that day, I'm like, where you at? I'm about to I had just got my windows tinted. I was like, I'm about to show you this tent that I got. So I pull up to the Woody, and I'm in the parking lot.
What happened?
Oh my God.
And he come out and he started getting, I see you with the tent. I put it in reverse. Let me show you what I do with this thing. So I'm reversing around the parking lot. This is kids, y'all. This is young. We like 20 years old at the time. Reversing around. And the little concrete block is there.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, so I was rolling backwards, and I rolled over it. And this dude that was in the car was like, "Oh, I'm getting out of here." so that's what happened with that, man. It was a wild time, man.
Oh my God. Any other comment? Cardale, his movie taste is good. I'll give him that
movie
for
taste
Marvel.
is good.
The music, I don't. I've heard of that guy.
Future?
But I couldn't tell you any songs by him.
I can't support Future.
Why?
Who was my teammate?
Oh, my fault.
Why? Go ahead.
Scotty, never mind.
Future Rip Scotty.
We're not going into
Future allegedly did some things with Scotty's wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Ouch. Okay, we'll leave that there.
It's alleged, though. It's alleged.
I can't support that.
That's it.
No,
so you're one of the two fun. Ezekiel Elliott doesn't seem funny to me, but he's funny.
He is a pretty funny guy. Zeke is he's wild.
Yeah.
He really wild.
Okay.
But he does some very funny stuff if you sit there and talk to him. And I mean, it's just, like I said, you have to be around him. No, his energy is unbelievable at times.
I asked Cardell after, I was like, Zeke doesn't seem that funny. Just like you said, Bull, and he goes, nah, that dude's funny. Like that guy's funny.
He's probably just not funny with people he
With
doesn't
us.
know.
No. You gotta, you gotta be in the circle. Yeah, you gotta be in the circle.
You know, there's people like that are like, it's like Shane Bieber or Corey Kluber, who used to be on the Guardians.
Yeah.
Corey Kluber, like everybody that knew him personally would be like, guy's funny, he's got great. He was the worst interview ever. He was like talking to a robot. He had never had anything to say. You couldn't ever have any fun with him on the air. Belichick, supposedly, but I don't buy that Belichick's got a good personality. I find that hard to believe.
Bill Belichick showed up to one of his players' costume parties.
He did?
Yeah, I can't remember who was the player, and they asked him to come to his costume party, and he literally showed up.
He did? Wow.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, Bill Belichick. He got
Belichick seems like such a D-bag. I mean, he really does.
I think it's just the media. I think outside of the. I mean, he did the 2 Bill story with Bill Parcells at 30 for 30.
But he didn't come off good in that.
He showed a little more personality, though. And
I mean, he seems so awkward.
Enough people have said the same thing about him that I don't think it's a coincidence.
All right.
Now, you're in New York. I'll tell you who's funny.
Yeah.
Charles Oakley is funny.
Oh, absolutely.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Well,
hilarious.
Your drinking story with him was funny enough for me.
He's banned from the garden, though.
And listen, and when that went down, I'm watching. I'm at my daughter's high school game. Somebody's got it on the phone. I'm watching this thing. You know what I said, Boo, when it was going down?
That's him.
When they surrounded him, I was sitting there, I said, whatever you do, please don't touch him. Because if you touch him, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
And the guy put his hand on his shoulder. I said, oh, Lord.
Yeah,
Here it comes. Here it comes.
You knew where that was going.
I knew where it was going.
I'm not messing with that guy.
No. On Friday, though, I went down to the softball game.
Yeah.
We interviewed Cardell with Tyvis. We got a couple more 60 seconds coming up this week. We got
Right.
Bobby Carpenter, former
Yeah.
Ohio State linebacker, Draymond Jones, former all Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year for
He's
the
huge.
Broncos. Massive from Cleveland. Another great Tyvis story coming.
Right. Okay.
But we also
good.
mic'd up Tyvis for the game. It's going to air Wednesday, but
Yeah.
you want to take a little
preview.
sneak peek?
Yeah, let's do a little
sneak
preview.
peek?
Let's show him a little sneak peek of the game.
Don't say nothing that you don't want your mama to hear.
That's Mr. Tyvis. Can you give guys
What's up, buddy? All my life I played first base, but then I got fast and went to the center field. This the one. This the winner right here. Yard. Easy. But you can golf.
I hold on to the club.
Yo, that's a home run right here. That boy got on off an error. Man, I'm tired. I gotta get back in shape. Sheesh.
But now, should we talk about the game and what happened?
Do you want to go over it now, Tyvis? Well, his final take's going to give it away, actually.
Okay, don't. So we'll save it for later.
Yeah, save it for the final take. But
it's-
Tyvis, I'll give you credit.
Yeah. Very good.
You put the mic on. Put the camera on
very
here.
No, this is for the world to know. Offensively, he could use a little work. We'll be honest.
Oh.
He promised a couple home runs. You'll
Yeah.
see on Wednesday if he delivered or not.
Did you play first base? Or did you play
Defensively, though, Bull, he might have been the best defensive player
Oh, really?
in the entire game.
Nice.
Tyvis played a mean center field.
You're a righty, right? You shouldn't ever play first base. Lefty, only lefty. should
That's
play
what they
first base.
said. But as a kid,
Yeah.
baseball is boring.
Baseball is not boring.
Right.
You found it boring.
Baseball is boring.
It's not boring.
But
You
first
found it boring.
base, my thought as a kid was first base. It's got to come to me.
Well, catcher. Why didn't you do catcher?
No, I ain't doing that. You get ran over. First base, the ball got to come to me. So I
Yeah.
was like, let me go to first base because I know they're going to throw me the ball.
All right,
He
fair
played a
enough.
good center field, though. To hit
did.
Tyvis's credit,
Thank
played a
you.
great
I
center
appreciate-
field.
thank you.
And he might have been the most popular person there. Everyone was
were
trying
ya?
to talk to Tyvis.
Everybody, he's a personable guy.
I know.
I was when they announced
You know?
me and I heard my crowd noise. You know, how
Yeah.
it was a loud roar. I was
Are you guys
oh my
like
God.
judging each other? Like who's getting the loudest?
the
crowd
meter
noise?
Oh, because Cardale's gonna get the
Yeah,
loudest.
Cardell
Yeah.
got the loudest. I would say Tyvis is second or third, though. No
Really?
joke.
Who got the least? We shouldn't say that.
Don't say
It's
that.
kinda gay. People are like, who? Who the hell's that guy? He played for the Buckeyes? Joe Schmo? All right. What?
Make a break for the Guardians.
Before we get
Oh, yeah, the Guardians. I thought
yeah,
they were
before
but we
get
got
too
to
far
announce
into
the
Guardians,
winner.
though, we have a winner.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't we have 3 winners?
We had 1,783 total entries.
Wow.
And our grand prize winner, drum roll, anybody?
Hold on. Before you announce it, let me just refresh for those who don't know. So we were doing a giveaway, and the grand prize winner was getting a 4-pack of tickets to the Guardians plus some signed memorabilia. And then we're going to have 2 other winners
That just get the
tickets, which is still a great prize. It's to the Guardians-Astros game. When's the game again?
August 5th,
August.
Sunday.
Right, which is coming up. So Friday was the last day to get in. We now have our grand prize winner. It is
Tyvis
All right,
Powell.
drum roll.
you're ineligible.
All right. Our grand prize winner is Rebecca Walter. We have 2 runner-ups.
Yeah.
We have Brian Finton. I'm sorry if I'm killing your name here. And Denise Liskovic.
Yeah, Brian.
Sounds good to me.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
That's great. Congratulations to all our winners, and thanks for everybody for jumping in. We'll have more giveaways coming up down the line. Now, speaking of the Guardians, guys, big road trip to start the second half of the season. Not 60-something. I can't remember exactly how many games they have left, but 60-something games left. It was an 11-game road trip before they come home on August 1st, and that's the day of the trade. One week from today is the trade deadline in baseball. So if the Guardians are going to do something, get aggressive, improve the team, they've got to, show the front office they mean business. They're still 2 games over 500. They beat the White Sox on Friday, and then they beat them in the first game of the doubleheader Saturday. Unfortunately, they lost the nightcap on Saturday, and then they lost the game yesterday. Shane Bieber got clobbered for 6 runs, 5 in the second inning. I think
Not
it was.
good.
He was bad.
Yeah.
But the road trip continues. They go to Boston now, guys, for a 4-game series, and then 3 in Tampa Bay. Now, Boston's coming off a series this weekend where they got demolished by Toronto, including, was it Friday or Saturday? They gave up 28 runs.
Friday.
Yeah, 28-5 was the final.
I thought they were going to break the record. I think the record's either 30 or 31, and the Red Sox had a hitter going in the last pitching in the last inning, so I was hoping the Blue Jays would set the record, but they didn't. But 28 runs, they got clobbered. But the series is in Boston. These 7 games, I think, are huge. Could determine how aggressive the front office is. Is this make or break, Mike, this week?
I don't think any 7-game stretch in a baseball season is make or break, but this is going to determine the entire outcome of the rest of the Guardians season because, A, you're taking on a Boston.
You just said you don't know if it's make or break.
No,
I
guess that's contradictory. But you know what? I'm going to go. This is make or break because you're playing a Boston team that's 1-9 its last 10 games.
Yeah.
It's a series you have to win because, A, they're in the wild card hunt with you. Then you go to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has the second-best home record in the AL. That's not an easy series. So if you come out of these two down big, it's going to be tough. And at the same time, while they're playing 2 teams in the American League East who the Red Sox are struggling, Tampa Bay's 7-3 in their last 10 games and good at home.
Yeah.
The Twins are playing the first-place Brewers and the Padres in San Diego.
So those are tough.
So you got a chance to pick up games while Minnesota's playing some tough teams.
Yeah.
And that combination could lead to, if you play well.
Well, they're both playing tough. I know Boston's not playing well right now.
But I'm just saying, they're playing a first-place team and a Padres team that's over 12 games over 500.
Right, yeah.
Versus the Rays and the Red Sox, which you would think they could beat the Red Sox, who were 1-9 their last 10.
Yeah.
Those 3-game stretch, I mean, you could narrow the gap pretty close there.
That's why I like Mike. Mike has all the data and details.
He does.
Right?
That's what I do.
Let me give you the pros.
Yeah, there we go.
I can only get the D3 perspective, Brad. You give me the pros.
When you get to the All-Star break,
yeah,
every game after the All-Star break is imperative.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to come out on the positive side of all these series more so than not. So when you sit down here, I don't care who it is because they're 3 games back now. You still have a chance in the Central.
Yeah.
You still do. But you have to know that, are you going to make a run at it?
Right.
Are you going to be serious? And the front office has a decision here.
Big time.
Do we go out and get some help here?
Right. Because it's a big ask because Dolan doesn't like spending money, especially the last couple of years. So if they're going to get him to open the purse strings, the team's got to show them that they're a legit contender. They're 3 games out of first, as you mentioned. Only 2 games out of the last wild card. So that's still an average. They're actually not far out of any of the wild card spots.
They're right in the thick of everything.
You're in play.
They're in play.
So you need going in the
All-Star. Do you take a position where I keep going and say as is?
Yeah.
Or do I say I roll a little dice a little bit and let me see what happens here? Because they have a chance.
I seen that they trying to shop police at. What you think of that?
Well, the Guardians are a team that in the past has shown you they'll buy and sell at the same time, right? The year they went for it, they traded Trevor Bauer, got a bunch of guys, made other trades. I don't think Plesac has a lot of trade value right now. I do want to see the Guardians be aggressive. I think, I look at the American League, and the Astros are excellent, and the Yankees are excellent. I think the Blue Jays are a good team. I think the Rays are a good team. But I think there's only 2 really great teams, and it would be tough for the Guardians to beat either of those teams in the playoffs. But you never know. That's why it's baseball. This is not the NBA where if one team's much better than the other, that team always wins. In baseball, the better team wins less often than in the other sports. And so if you can punch your ticket, you've got a shot. And so I think they need to be aggressive and go for it. And if that means buy and sell and trade Plesac or even trade Bieber or whatever, if they can get a lot for him. And in the same vein, go out and get some hitters and some young pitchers. I think they need to be aggressive. However, if they go to Boston against a team that, as you said, has been struggling, and they crap the bed and lose 3 out of 4 here, all of a sudden they're a 500 team with 60 games to go. I don't know that they'll do it. So I think this week is a huge factor, not only in where they are in the standings, but also how aggressive the front office will be.
Rewind to April. Did any of you guys think the Guardians had a chance to win the AL Central?
Absolutely not.
Did any of you guys think that
I was hoping that they were.
Well, you're the biggest baseball fan I know.
I thought they had a chance to hang in the fringe, but I didn't think they would win the division. I still think they're unlikely to win the division. And you know what? The Twins and Guardians, eventually I think there'll come a point where the White Sox are going to get hot. The White Sox are when healthy, the White Sox are the best team in this division, or they have the best roster. Now, they've played terribly, and yet they're still right there.
Yeah. They're 4 games back. Cleveland's 3 games back.
Like, I still keep expecting them to go on a run. A lot of their pitchers have been disappointing, but we saw Dylan Cease yesterday, He looks like a Cy Young pitcher right now. He's phenomenal. The Guardians, Franmil Reyes hit a home run yesterday.
Hey.
They need to get him going.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And I just traded for him in my fantasy league. I traded Michael Kopech for Franmil Reyes. Let's go, Franmil.
I still think
get hot.
I think Franmil be the guy.
He got to be. He's got to be.
He's the guy that if he gets hot in the lineup, for some odd reason, they will win more games.
They need him
every time. And when he doesn't show up, we lose, and it shows, man. He the guy. Put the bat on the ball. I did it at a softball game. I know you can do it too.
Until the real pitcher came.
I want to.
I ain't go up against her, so therefore we don't know.
Oh, you had a
we
real
don't know what would have happened.
They did.
Oh, she was throwing like the real softball pitcher.
Yes.
Hold on. What'd you say you went up against who?
We don't know.
No, that's not.
What?
Bring that back.
The real pitcher.
What you mean?
Who'd you pitch again? Who'd you go up against? Who's the pitcher?
That's not what you talking about. Is irrelevant. that's irrelevant right now. I hit.
The people didn't catch that.
What I don't understand is how some former big-time athletes struck out in slow pitch softball.
That's
an NFL
absurd.
player, not
absurd that happened. Slow pitch.
That's embarrassing.
She smoked you.
No, Tyvus did not face her.
Okay.
So who is this woman that came in to pitch?
Emily, her name is Emily Rusk. I think she is an Ohio State pitcher. She pitched one inning.
Current Ohio State pitcher?
She pitched one inning, and
she blew the guys away.
And you know what?
One guy got a hit.
Oh, okay.
One guy did
What
get a hit.
happened was.
Yeah.
See what had happened.
Yeah, see what had happened was.
I actually got. Well, I didn't get
got
lucky.
you got lucky.
She got lucky that the inning before was I had grounded out. I had a ground out. So like that's why I didn't get to go up against her. I think we went 3 up, 3 down.
So what you're trying to say is you grounded out in slow pitch softball, and yet you were definitely going to get a hit against this woman who throws hard.
Yeah, because hitting is not a problem for me.
Well, Mike said you were averaging it.
I went 1 for 2. What do you mean? I went 1 for 2. The first one.
Professional athlete, for crying out loud. I expect 2 for 2 from you.
I did. You know what? That's the sick part is I expected it from me. Honestly.
Yeah.
If Bobby wasn't on base, I would have beat out the pitch, the throw easily.
So Bobby Carpenter's slow as crap. And
Yes,
that's why
Bobby is slow.
Yes.
You got stuck with a fielder's choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's true.
Blame Bobby.
It's true.
How did you only get up twice, though?
That's what
They scored not. We'll save it for
we'll get
Friday.
there.
Oh, my goodness, man.
All right, guys, it's time for good bet, bad bet.
Bad experience.
As usual, I dominated on Friday. Another 3-0 performance.
And G. Bush also went 3-0 today.
Oh.
Today, my picks are for G. Bush. It's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
Jay went 0-3.
By the way,
you
I
guys
got to
went
rip both
3-0.
G and Jay while they're not here. I'll remind them tomorrow that I ripped them because they both deserve to get ripped.
Oh, my God. I'm tied for first place.
Look at that. 19 and 10.
Jay also went 0-3.
Jay went 0-3?
Jay went 0-3.
Oh,
Wow.
I
am 8 games up on Jay.
Brad, you got to do
I'm
so.
coming up. I was down bigger.
Brad,
Brad went 1 for 11.
he's struggling right there.
1 for 12.
I played in Vegas, man.
By the way,
I'm trying to go to home runs.
Before
all
we
the
do
time, man. Why
that,
just
Jay
take a
took the
single?
day off to golf.
Well, he's
It's a charity
he's
event.
in a charity
It's
event.
a charity event.
Well, why didn't you tell me that? I can't rip him for doing a charity event.
Well, we gave him the option. Did he want to come back, or did he already?
He wanted
He
to.
already
He committed. So he didn't want to come back.
It's a charity event.
But we could rip G. Bush for not being able to
G
get
is
that jury duty.
G is a jury duty today. Like, how did he not get out of that?
Here, I'm going to stand up for my man
The-
G.
the mayor,
Hold on,
please.
stop. I'm stand up for my man
Stand
G.
up for him.
G, like a good citizen of this
Yeah.
country, he took his oath to serve his community.
Yeah.
Right? He's going down there. The only thing he did ask about is like, what kind of case can I get stuck on here?
Yeah.
I said, you better hope you don't get stuck on a murder. You might be there for a while.
Well, it's funny because years and years ago, I was in my 20s, and I got called to jury duty. And at the time, I dropped out of college, and I was working, like, crappy jobs, right? And I got called for jury duty, and the only good thing about my job was that if you were on jury duty, you still got paid. Somehow by your job. I don't know how I got that.
You're supposed to turn them checks in.
I was?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. But we were supposed to get paid. And it was my job sucked. That was the only good thing. And I was like, I was in the box for a murder trial. And I'm like, I want to get on this jury. I'll be here for weeks. I didn't want to go to work, but they rejected me.
Yeah, so if your company still pays you, you're really supposed to give the company the check from the county.
Well, it never came to that anyway, so it doesn't matter.
See, just a rule for
He's
people
about
out
to
here.
illegal activity going on. They double
Shady
dipping.
dealings.
Double dipping.
Hey, rich people get away with it. Why can't I double dip
There you
for
go.
Give it back.
$10 an hour? All right.
All right,
Here we go.
First bet
Sorry.
today
Yeah.
is going to be the Guardians plus 1.5 at Red Sox.
And remember, my bets are for G. Bush.
Pictures of McNugget.
Me and Mikey on the same wavelength.
All right.
I'ma tell you-
Tyvus and I are bad bet on this one. Yeah, I like the Red Sox at home.
I like the Red Sox. Listen, you just got embarrassed. I think they're going to play with some energy and a lot of enthusiasm, and they got something to prove. So I think this first game.
They do have some problems, but Nick Pavetta's pitched well for them.
Yeah, but we just talked about the Guardians knowing they need this series.
Yeah.
I'll take the 1.5. I'll take the 1.5.
I mean, they get the next ones, but that first one, I don't know.
What's the next one, Anthony?
All right, give me number 2.
Second
What do we
bet
got?
is over 9.5 runs in the Guardians game tonight.
I'm very distracted by the chicken McNugget.
I am too.
I know, I'm kind of hungry. I regret putting
All
it in.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, over. I'm the only one over 9.5. This is going to be a high-scoring game. The Guardians are going to lose. I have a bad feeling that who's pitching for the Guardians? I can't remember. Plesac, right. I have a feeling he's going to get smoked. I feel like this is going to be like a 10-4 game tonight.
That scares me because every time Bull said he has a feeling about a specific Guardians game, he's been damn near spot on.
So you want to change it?
No, I'm a man of my word, and these are G's picks anyway.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
G picks.
All right, last one there, Mike. Last one there.
Sabotaging G.
Will Ahmed Rosario record a hit?
Okay,
Yeah, we're on the same page again. Yeah, I mean, well, somebody else give analysis. I'm analyzing everyone. Go ahead. Anybody?
He ain't getting no hit today.
He's not getting a hit.
I don't know why you don't
He's been
think
getting a lot of hits.
I'm about to
lately.
say he's definitely been hitting well.
I just think it's gonna be a low-scoring game. So
Not
I'm gonna
today.
know.
Yeah.
If it was 1-0, I'm still gonna say he gonna get the hit.
You gotta understand the picks I'm taking. I gotta catch up. So.
That's true. That's true. Or you might fall further behind.
He playing with house money. At this
All
time,
right,
at this
so
moment.
we go from good bet, bad bet to the top 5. Hopefully,
Wanna get
Anthony.
these TVs going?
I'm used to ripping Mike for the top 5. He gets a break today, and hopefully I
it's
won't
my
have to
turn
rip
to get
you,
bullied.
Anthony. But we'll see. What do we
So
got
we're
for the
gonna
ultimate
do
top
the
5?
top 5 NBA City jerseys from the 2021 to 2022 season.
I don't even remember those.
I didn't remember most of them either, but I found a Sports Illustrated ranking, and they ranked Brooklyn first. But first, we have to get our sponsor in, and today's Ultimate Top 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money on average of 20% a year. 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great healthcare benefits that your employees will love and save money too.
Roundstone, oh Roundstone. I got nothing today. That's all I got. Love you, Roundstone. I've seen you around Lakewood. Keep up the good work. All right, what do we got? Top 5 best jerseys or worst from the city? The city.
These are the best, and I had nothing to do with this. For everyone out there
it's
who
the top 5 best city jerseys.
Top 5 best city jerseys.
Yeah, let's see what this looks like.
Let's see.
So
Number
number
5.
5 is going to be the Suns.
That's horrible.
I love the Suns.
I
because
respect
they're
that.
like the
I
Nuggets
respect
Mile
that
High
jersey.
City jerseys, and I love the Nuggets. So I'm glad they went with the rainbow.
I respect that.
I actually
like
those
Phoenix's
ones.
Valley jerseys, honestly.
Well, it didn't work out too well for him.
Nope, did not. Blue the lead.
Number 4.
Number 4, pick the home team with the Cavs. I love the little Cavalier on the front.
No.
I was no.
I'm out.
No?
I probably would have
like
put
these?
them 5th, but if I had to pick a Cavs jersey, that's the one that I would.
Especially
Here's the
compared to
problem
the
with
new
this
ones.
list again, like when you did the random games, is that I don't know any of the others, so I don't know if the list is good or bad. Like I don't remember any of them. Do you guys?
The Cavs jerseys?
All of no. All these different city jerseys.
Yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
All right, I'm in the minority here. All right,
Number 3,
let's go to 3.
it's going to be the Charlotte Hornets. I love the honeycomb that they have under there.
I
I'm
hate
a
that
Wallace
jersey.
graduate, and I would love to see this for BW in our colors. I think that'd be a really cool way to show our basketball team
You're
off.
looking like a
This is
honeycomb.
crazy because I just don't like the color blue.
That teal
I love
blue.
blue.
That teal blue is never really played
It's just
well.
blue, period. I don't wear blue.
First thing I thought of was Larry Johnson wearing the Grandmama outfit. Remember Larry Johnson?
The Grandmama,
Was
yeah.
it Grandmama?
Yeah.
Grandmama. Yeah.
That was a good campaign.
Yeah, but
Larry Johnson was out.
I'm
I like Phoenix overall.
I'm not putting that as a number.
Phoenix is my favorite of all three.
All right.
So far, Phoenix
Let me
is
see what
winning.
you got in 2.
Well, all right.
2.
I guess I did my list backwards here. Number 2 is the San Antonio Spurs. I like the color scheme a lot.
I
It's just
respect
like those
it.
old retro cups that you can get at a diner.
I respect
It looks
that
like the
jersey.
Miami Dolphins.
Man, that's awful.
I
That's
respect
awful.
it.
I agree with Brad.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. It ain't no number 2, I tell you
Yeah,
that.
I like the
Compared
uniform.
to the rest of them, it was number 2.
Number 1 is going to
Well,
be
let's see
interesting.
number 1.
There should be a bona fide certified number 1 here.
It's not the Brooklyn Nets.
It's definitely not the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, no. I went with the Atlanta Hawks for number 1 because I like the hawk on the front. I thought it was a great
That's
way to
horrible.
display their logo.
These are some bad picks.
That's horrible.
That's the number one
Mike, what was your
jersey.
bona fide number one?
That's
Mike,
the
what do you
number
think
one
of that one?
jersey.
I don't like the. I thought the Nuggets one's the best.
No.
The Nuggets
No,
one was
because
beautiful.
they didn't do the rainbow across the entire chest this time.
I like the
They-
Nuggets. I like the Jazz too. The Jazz have a good looking one
I
too.
think the Hawks is
My
So out of
favorite's the
all of
Valley.
them, Bull, which one you like the most?
If I
Phoenix is the
had to
best.
take it,
Yeah.
I guess Phoenix. And I didn't.
Phoenix is the best.
That's what
I would. I mean, I think the Spurs and the Hawks are the two worst on that list.
So it's backwards. You should go.
Well,
it
the
better
Hawks
than my
one.
movie list?
The Hawks one looks like something my friends and I designed for our 8th grade
I can't
baseball
believe
team.
you put
know?
that as number one, though.
I liked it. I don't know what to tell you.
Everybody's got their own opinion.
I guess so. I respect your opinion, man.
There were some better, there were some good ones. That an honorable mention would have been Toronto Raptors, but I like the purple Raptor, and it was black and gold, and I didn't like. I would rather they kept the purple Raptor.
Well, Brad, you the basketball
Man,
expert.
you gotta show me some of these city jerseys because
I wish we could see them all.
I should have sent out the article last
That
night. That's
list
my
today
mistake.
was like.
So if you had to pick one, Brad, which one would
Of
you
all
go
those.
pick?
I mean, I think 4 and 5 are probably your better
Yeah.
two of
So
that
the
list.
Cavs and the Suns.
Cavs and Suns. But I was
Yeah.
like, there's some nice city jerseys out here. Nice. And again, I think the city, the review of the city jersey is this. It should be different than the other home and away jersey.
That's
It
true.
should be iconic to the city some way, right?
Yeah.
I don't see that hawk as being representative of Atlanta, right? I just don't.
First thing I think of in Atlanta is strip clubs, right? Wow. Let's get some naked women on here.
Chicken wings.
The lemon pepper wings. That's what I like too. Lou Williams.
Listen, yeah, I mean, chicken.
I'm speechless here.
That boy said the strip club. Woo.
I couldn't even go. I spent one night in Atlanta in my life. Only time I've ever been in Atlanta. I was like 20. I was 30, right? I had just graduated college the second time around.
Blue flag.
And I was going for a job interview in Oklahoma, of all places. Can you imagine me in Oklahoma? Jesus. So we had a layover in Atlanta, and we get on a second flight from Atlanta to Oklahoma, and the plane's shaking like this. I think the plane's going to crash. I'm throwing up all over the place. I'm plane sick.
Oh, God.
So they turned the plane back, not because I was sick, because they had a problem with the plane. Go back to Atlanta. I had to spend the night in a motel room at the airport, puking my guts out.
Motel 8.
I don't know what the hell it was, but that's it. couldn't go to the strip club. I couldn't eat chicken wings. I couldn't do nothing.
Motel lost what
Did you know that the strip club actually has the best chicken wings?
There's no chance.
That's the Lou Williams.
That can't be
rumor.
true.
It's a fact.
You're just so like, when you're there, you're just so high on all the women that you just con yourself into believing that. There's no way they can actually be good.
Won't you go? You want to go find out?
I'll go. Yeah.
Wait,
Best strip club you ever been to? Go ahead.
No.
We,
No. Best strip club. Let's go.
That was in Miami.
Let's go to the next topic.
Ready for my answer?
Hey, did you guys hear the Cavs offered Sexton $40 million?
Nobody cares. Best
You, Steve.
You can't. You can't straighten this out.
Go to the next one.
Have you been to the Toronto? In Toronto?
No, I have not been to Toronto.
You're not living.
The last one.
You're married now. It's
Yeah,
all
the last one I went to was Lipstick in New Orleans on Bourbon Street.
All those scores in Manhattan is pretty.
First name basis with all
That was
these-
like 20 years ago that I was there.
Anyways,
Stop it.
yeah.
Tell more
Collin
stories.
Collin
Sexton.
Sexton.
Collin
$40 million.
Sexton. I mean, what's Sexton? Who would want to? I mean, we got men listening to us. They don't care about strip clubs at all. 20-year-old guys. Yeah. Why would they care about that? All right, let's get to Collin Sexton. 3 years, $40 million, according to my buddy Chris Fedor of Cleveland.com. 3 years, $40 million. At that price, that's a reasonable price for Sexton. Guys, is there any chance somebody, like, he's a restricted free agent, which means anybody can offer him a contract, any contract, and then the Cavs would have the right to decide to match it or not. That happened. Who was it that it happened with recently?
DeAndre Ayton.
Thank you. Right, and the Suns matched the contract.
Which was
and brought
the
him back.
smartest thing the Suns could do because they avoided paying him max money.
That's true. They did.
This have
Collin
a
Sexton.
disgruntled player on their hands, but we'll worry about that later.
That's a whole different story.
Don't worry, he'll force his trade out. He'll force a trade out of town next week.
You know what's coming.
We know that's coming. But Brad, Collin Sexton is, according to this article from Chris Fedor, wants starting guard money. Is anybody going to pay him that? Doesn't seem like it.
No. And it's here.
Yeah.
I like Collin Sexton, but you're not that, right? He has a position here, and I think the 3 years, $40 million is an adequate salary for what he brings to the table.
Right.
Now, I told you before, Mike, his numbers don't translate to wins. They just don't. I don't care. Get your little feelings hurt. I don't care. This is how it works in this league.
Right.
If you want max money, deliver me some max wins.
Oh,
then
my
you
goodness.
can get max money.
That's right.
And when he sits here, his slot to me, Tyvus, is this. He's a guy that I have to bring off the bench. He can give me punch off the bench. Yeah. And I'm going to pay you for it. So if I pay you $14, $15 million off the bench, right? I think that's a decent number for a guy.
Tyvus, do you?
He's shooting 25.
Even at that price, do you want to pay him at that price? If are you?
I take that. I pay him at that.
Okay.
I 13 million a year. But
would you sign it if you were him?
Yeah, that's the best you're gonna get, right? Because you coming off of an ACL injury, and the thing about Sexton is, was Sexton like that good of a player, or was the Cavs that bad? Because when I watched him when he was healthy, it was a lot of early on he tried to get people involved. They didn't work out because a lot of people wasn't bought into this. It wasn't the Cavs that we see today. It was not. And it became the Collin Sexton show. He literally came up the court and they just stood there and watched Collin Sexton go, and he just did what he did. So he ended up shooting like 25 shots a game. But is he a good player? I don't know. That's why I need to see him come off the bench.
I think it's a fair point, Brad. Sometimes when a guy puts up a lot of points on a bad team, you don't always know, is this guy just like, because somebody's got to score on a bad team.
Be clear, he can score.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
He shoot 25%.
Yeah, but I need to give it to him in short tranches here. I don't need you for 40 minutes out here. Give me 24 strong minutes. That's what I need from you. The other thing is, and I remind people of this, do you know the veterans, when he was out there acting like that, they were mad. They're like, he don't even know how to play. What did Kevin Love say? He don't even know how to play. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Go back and look it up. And he wasn't being derogatory. He doesn't. He did not understand. He understands production, putting up numbers, but it does never translate back to wins. Go back and check his history.
Team basketball. He don't know team basketball.
Check Alabama's stats. Yeah. They didn't do nothing, right? He has a talent. We have to take his talent and put it into a realm where we can use it.
Right.
The Cavaliers can use a guy like that off the bench. We're willing to pay you. Now, if you ball out like that, guess what? Somebody else is going to say, hey, wait a minute. I'll pay you more than that. If you want that max money, Devin Booker money, that kind of money, then you have to do what Devin Booker them do. They win.
Right.
They're always there.
And if he accepts his role as a sixth man, Mike, and performs at a high level in that sixth-man role, then the next contract will be there, right?
And you look at the culture of the NBA now. There are 6 men that put up massive numbers.
Right.
Just because you come off the bench doesn't mean you're not going to play 30, 35 minutes a game. Jordan Clarkson does it in Utah. Jamal Crawford did it for years with the Clippers in his whole career. Lou Williams did it.
Stop. What did them 3 dudes do?
I'm getting to that. They win. They win. Right. And having a 6 man that can come off the bench and put up points and be a guy who can run your second unit offense.
You know who we just got our 6th man back? Ricky Rubio.
But he's a different, he's a very different kind of player. My point with Sexton is he has shown the ability to take over games at times. I go back to the Nets game last year, double overtime. I think he had 40-something points.
Yeah.
He has that capability. It's just not consistent. The guys who get paid the big money are the guys who can do that on a consistent nightly basis, and you know what you're getting from him night in, night out. Yeah. We don't know exactly what we're getting from Sexton night in, night out outside of the scoring production, and until he shows he could round out some of the other parts of his game, his defense, his playmaking, getting other guys involved, and really his ability to play alongside Garland.
Yeah.
Putting a massive investment in him isn't worth it.
And Brad, you talk about he's got to win, right? Like he looked like he was trying to fit in at the beginning of last year, then he gets hurt, misses time. The team won a lot of games until everybody got hurt, and then they fell apart.
Right.
Not surprisingly. If they start the season with him and the rest of the team is basically the same, they had the rookie, whatever, but the rest of the team, he's the only veteran that's different, right? And they don't win next year, well, who are we going to blame?
Right.
We're going to say Sexton screwed up the chemistry.
Well, and like I said, sometimes you have to do what's in the best interest of the team.
Right.
So first of all, I told you before, my own personal preference, I don't like a little backcourt. I just don't like to have 2 little guards back.
Right.
I got to have somebody with some size. I already got 1 little guard in Garland, right? And so,
he's not going anywhere.
All right. And so I don't want to combine that with 2. Collin Sexton here, don't anybody get it twisted. He can play. He has a role, right? I need to take what he does as his strength and put in a position to help me. I'm weak off the bench in production. I need a guy that I can go
Right.
to. And he don't even understand it. I'm going to put you in basically coming in with the second unit guy.
You can run your score.
Freaking field day.
Right, eventually-
You have a freaking field day.
Eventually, he plays with Rubio and Kevin Love, and hey, listen.
And that's a great-
Kevin Love,
that's
a
a
much
great-
more accomplished player,
Yeah.
has accepted his role as a bench guy, and he's thrived in that
Right,
role.
he's
last
going to
year.
become with that secondary. He's going to
Yeah.
become a go-to guy. That means
Yeah.
we go to and clear it out for you. You go to work, right? And everybody's going to relax and say, okay, that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But now if you put me out here in the first team with Garland
Right.
and Mobley, and then now you're impacting them, right?
Right.
Because
And you're fourth, fifth option
What we're
there.
going to do? Stand here and watch you?
No,
We're not going to do that.
Well,
And look at that bench unit, though. Rubio, Sexton, Osman, Love,
the rookie.
and Abaji as
Yeah.
your second five. That unit can get buckets. I mean, maybe a center in there, but
You ain't sold on that
small
one.
like
You
here.
ain't
Yeah,
sold.
but I'm saying that unit can get buckets, which they didn't have this year when they went out.
There's only one problem, right? And and you get these pieces, right? Somebody got to know how to move the pieces on the chessboard. And let me be clear, everybody not going to be around.
That's a fact.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody not going to be around here.
Well,
right?
you willing to ship him off?
I'm willing to ship anybody that get here if it can help me get better. Yeah, Tyvus, when you play on real winning teams, championship teams, the GMs and the ownership and the management, they will move you if it feels like I can get better.
Yeah.
Bulls didn't blink a nod. Pistons didn't blink a nod. Lakers don't blink a nod when it's time to move somebody.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you just bought your house in Bel Air. They don't care. Like, you out of here because that dude over there can help me get better. Right?
Right.
And so when you sit here and think I've done it, I look around here and I say, what's the scenario? They say Donovan Mitchell floating around in the air, right?
Yeah.
I said, oh, is he?
How big is Donovan Mitchell?
6'1".
I said,
Nah,
here.
he's
But
listed
here.
at
He's a better
6'4".
player,
But he can go get a bucket.
Like
right?
6'1".
So I said, here. And what he has learned now that, he's older now. I don't need to carry all this weight here. I just spread this weight around and I can use better for my strengths. When I can get better, I do myself and my team a disservice if I don't look at the opportunity, right? So I'm not enamored with anybody.
How does Sexton and Mitchell, how would they fit together?
No, they wouldn't be.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm about to say,
I
they
meant
ain't.
Garland and Mitchell. How would they fit together?
The Cavs have their need. They were talking about Karis LeVert and all that, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you something. I need a guy that can go give me a bucket.
Yes.
A bucket. right?
Absolutely.
That's what happened to us down the stretch here. We didn't have a
Right.
guy that when they cut Garland and turned the water off at the tap on him, there wasn't nobody left to get a bucket.
That's
Right,
a fact.
Right. So now I need a guy to get a bucket, and guess what it does? Luciano.
But is he going to play off the ball, right? I mean, Darius Garland's going to be the point guard.
Well, here it's not that. It's that
Yeah.
he don't play off the ball, right?
Yeah.
They'll learn to play one another. But
Yeah.
this is what I have, Bull. I have a guy down the stretch when I need to go get a hoop. I can
Yeah.
give you the ball, and he can create it. Not
But you got to give up Abaji and other draft picks to get
I
him.
ain't giving up
I'm not giving up a
I'm
ball.
not giving up
Abaji
Abaji.
can play. Why wouldn't you give him up? You don't know if he can play.
I'm not giving up Abaji. No.
Y'all are crazy. If
What if
Abaji's
he's
the
the next
reason
Anthony?
you
You
wouldn't
can't let
trade
Abaji
for
stop
I know it
Donovan
sounds
Mitchell.
crazy, but I'm not giving.
No, it's crazy.
But
No,
they can have-
It's certifiably crazy. If he's the reason you wouldn't trade for
Man.
Mitchell,
You
if
don't
they
even know if
said
he's any
everything
good.
else on the
We don't know
table,
if he can
No, we
play.
don't know.
Sexton,
Here.
Okoro,
Here.
and whoever.
Y'all giving up everybody.
Everybody.
They
Sexton,
just got 5 first-round picks from
Why
Rudy
did-
Gobert. They're going to ask for 17 for Donovan Mitchell.
They ain't get- he can stay in Utah.
That's why he's not.
Well, here, everybody knows that Minnesota was foolish.
Yeah,
Everybody
that was-
knows
that was the
they
craziest
got fleeced.
trade.
That
Yes.
was the fleecing of America. That's what that was, right?
Finger gun, D. Walked in there, give me
that was
all
a
the
Herschel Walker
money.
That was the fleecing of America, too.
Oh, my God. That was deep fleecing. Speaking of the Cavs, guys, the Vegas over-under is set at 43.5 wins. 43.5. What are you guys saying? Mikey, start us off. Over or under 43.5 wins for the Cavaliers next season?
I'm taking the over, and I think it's a pretty easy over for me. They won 44 games last year.
Right.
There's your number. And like you said, they bring back Sexton, and if they don't keep Sexton, they're going to trade Sexton and bring in someone who will improve the overall caliber of this team. I think not having Rubio for half the year is going to hurt, but I think Darius Garland's a certified stud in this league. I think Evan Mobley takes that next step forward. You still have Jared Allen. Defensively, they're going to be good again. And you bring back most of the nucleus that won 44 games last year and tasted a little bit of the postseason, that playing game, just a little sample. It's not the appetizer. It's the chips on the table with your salsa and queso. I'd be shocked this team doesn't win at least 44 games this year.
I got over 43 games. I'm over.
Yeah.
And I say the Cavaliers could win 55 games.
Wow.
If. Listen to me. I said if.
They trade Collin
You got to get to go get the maybe. Well, I got to go get a go-to guy. If I get a go-to guy that I can put in this lineup, the guy that can get me a bucket, right?
Yeah, but that's not gonna be easy to do.
Well, no, I hear people think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
If I can't get it straight up, then I got to give me somebody to get between pieces. And people laugh at me when I said it. Jason was laughing. I said, where's Melo at?
Oh yeah.
Give me Melo.
But the team is currently constituted, Brad.
Here. They're plus 43.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm saying, I just said, how you get to 55.
Oh, I see.
You got to get a couple go-to guys down the
Then you got them getting that high.
Then you got a chance because they got great young talent.
They do. They do. What about you, Tyvis?
I'm taking the over as well. I'm going. The way you talking, you make it sound like you not. I think you'd be kind of foolish not to think that they not going to win over 43 games. I got them in the 48 range. Definitely making the playoffs this postseason coming up. I just think that J.B. Bickerstaff will be a better coach. I do believe that in that Hawks game, he kind of got out-coached a little bit. But I think with the players coming back, them having Collin Sexton, that attitude that he brings, that energy that he brings, if he accepts that 6-man role, which I think is the best things for his career, I think they definitely make the playoffs with 48 wins.
Well, I want to say something to the point so you'll know in the NBA, the standard is 50 when you really do it. That's why I said 55.
Right.
If you win 50 games, that means you're really getting it done.
Yeah.
So anything less than 50, you okay.
Yeah.
Right? And if we win more than 43 games, I mean, you're okay, but 50 is the standard.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's fair.
I don't want to be at 47 to 48 games. I want to be 50 and above.
You know, my thought on the Cavs is they got off to a great start last year, right? They played really well. You could argue they overachieved a little early in the season. Then they got devastated by injuries. You can't predict injuries, so who knows? Obviously, if they have a ton of injuries again, it could go sour. I love this team in the long run, but I still think there are growing pains that they're going to feel in the beginning of the season because teams will be taking them more seriously this year in the beginning of the season, right? Like in the NBA, in these days, Brad, not really when you guys play, or at least I don't think as much, but there are nights, like not everybody's bringing their A game every night in the NBA, and I think nobody took the Cavs seriously in the beginning of last year, right? And now they'll be a little more noticeable on the schedule, so I think they'll have a little tougher competition earlier. Also, again, basing this on how the team is currently constituted, I'm assuming Collin Sexton will be on the team. And so they're going to have to acclimate with having him part of the deal. But in the end, I think hopefully it'll be opposite of last year where they'll be a little more mediocre early and then really take off in the second half. So I think they'll be over, but not by a ton because I think there'll still be growing pains. I do love the coach. I think they have great chemistry. I think that's important. Now, if they went out and added Donovan Mitchell or some other big piece, then certainly I'd go way over, and I agree. If they added another big piece, there's no limit to how good they can be. But I just think, especially like Mobley, I think guys will adjust to him a little bit, and then he'll have to readjust his game again. I think he's got all the skills to do it, but I think they'll have some growing pains early, which is why I'm over, but not by a lot. Not by a lot, because I don't think they're a legit top team yet. I think they're heading in that direction, but I think it's going to take them still a little more time.
They're definitely heading in that direction.
Yeah.
I would just say this, that sometimes you want the big name player to come in here, whoever, to come in here. You can't always get them, so now you have to do it another way. How you get to the top is you better have great veteran leadership. Garland, Mobley, they're still learning.
Yeah.
Right? The only real legit veteran out there, I don't discount Rubio, but Kevin Love's the only real legit one out here. Yeah. And when I consider legit, who's won here?
Yeah.
Right.
Love's the only one that's won here.
He's the only
rest
one
of them,
left.
I mean, you coming from places that are like, man, you ain't seen a win to save your soul.
Yeah.
Like, not a real meaningful win, right? So you need those players on the team to help guide the ship. Because I felt like down the stretch, there was really no leadership down the stretch last year when we were making a run, because when they got to thick things, Kevin Love, you only had Kevin Love, and the rest, Rondo was, I don't know where he was on days, right? I have no idea where he was on days, right? And then LeVert, he came in, and I like Karras because he's from Columbus. I like him. But, some days
he wasn't getting
like,
them buckets.
He wasn't trying to figure it out, too, on the fly.
Yeah, inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys, do they have to win a playoff series this year?
Oh, they have to be in the
Right.
playoffs. They have to be in the playoffs.
They have to be in the playoffs or win a
No.
series.
Here, if you want to take the next step, it's just not getting to the playoffs.
Right.
Because essentially you were in the playoffs this year. The play-in is basically the edge of the playoffs.
And they were a top 8 seed,
right.
you know.
You have to win.
Yeah, they got to win a series.
This is about winning, right?
They got to get that
Stop
taste.
talking about next year and this, that, and the other. You're trying to make the step. So to make the step.
Yeah. Right.
Is Karis LeVert under contract?
He
with us?
is.
Yeah, he's back.
So he
2
will
more
be
years,
back
I
with
think.
us? Okay.
I think 2 more years.
It's going to be tough for them to win a playoff
It will be
series.
very
The
tough.
Eastern Conference is loaded.
But
this
you got to
year.
get. They got to get that taste.
And if they're going to do it, they're going to have to win more than 43 regular season games, so they get one of those top
Right, they
4
gotta
seeds.
be-
They can't be a 7 or 8
Well,
seed.
obviously
even a
we know
6 seed.
Boston's good.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee will be
Milwaukee's
back.
really
The
good.
Milwaukee
Miami should be
Giannis's-
good, but
Brooklyn, if Katie doesn't leave, they're still. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a whole Kyrie
Katie,
issue. But
they ain't leaving.
I'm not counting.
Toronto wasn't no joke either.
Toronto's going to
Toronto
be
wasn't a
good.
joke
Eastern
either.
Conference is loaded.
The Eastern Conference is better than it's been in a while. So, all right, guys, it is time for final takes. Mikey, you don't get a chance to do a lot of final takes, so I hope it's good. Otherwise, I'm going to rip the bleep out of you. Go ahead.
Well, what a way to start my second final
Way to
take.
give you confidence.
But no, this final take is for the city of Cleveland. I want to say thank you guys, everyone out there, everyone in this room, behind the booth, everyone who's part of the show, and everyone in the city of Cleveland for kind of welcoming me with open arms. I came here from Texas. I've never been to Cleveland. I've never been to Ohio until they said, hey, this job's moving to Cleveland. Do you want to come? And I said without hesitation, yeah, let's do it. I have not met one person who hasn't been friendly. I haven't met one person who hasn't extended a hand to help. I haven't met one person who hasn't gone the extra mile to make me feel at home, and that's a blessing because when you move to a spot where you don't have any family, you don't know anybody, it's tough. And it's not the first time I've done it, but it's the first time I've done it in a position like this where it's not a normal TV job. And just wanted to really say thank you because it's been 120-something days for me now, and Cleveland is finally starting to feel a little bit like home, and I look forward to it feeling a lot like home. And that goes to you 3 here, everyone who's not here, back there and watching, you guys who tweeted us and watched the show. Thank you for making this Jersey kid who's been all over the place feel a little bit more comfortable here in Cleveland. And I can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, well said, Mike.
Well,
Brad?
we're going to make you really feel home when it turns cold around here.
Yeah, oh,
Welcome home, baby.
wait till football season.
Welcome home, baby.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just, my final take is real short and sweet, but I will tell you this. Boxing in Cleveland is not dead. It's not dead. You know, I go to work out, and many know that I work out at Lifetime Fitness, and in there's a series of young boxers in this town that come and train in there and just try to stay fit. So there's a young fighter here in Cleveland. Just made his professional debut. He's 3-0 now, Abdullah Mason. And he's in Cleveland. He's born and bred here. This young man was on ESPN Plus this weekend. He has a future here. And the most mannerable, nicest person that you can see.
Sorry to cut you off, Brad. I'm not supposed to do this, but how old is he? Because he looks like he's 15.
He's like a kid. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting down talking to him at the gym. I'm like, and he like, I've got a fight on TV. I like, you do? And so he was like, yeah. And so he said, let me give you the thing. And I'm looking at it, and I'm watching this thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, he got some. I don't know, Anthony. We got any rotation of the fight itself?
Yeah.
Or
Tech
any
was being a little
highlights?
weird. Let's see if it plays.
Look at this kid. Watch this kid here. This kid is nice, very nice.
He's in the white trunks.
He's in
just
the
to clear
white
it up.
trunks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this kid here, when I tell you he had, we freeze up.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
I
tag
tell-
board's been freezing up back here.
Yeah,
Sorry
when
about
I
that, Brad.
tell you that boxing in the hands, because you know boxing has gotten away. We down to the crazy fighting cage match. I can't watch that. I can't watch that stuff. Right. This, if you love traditional boxing, we're gonna get Abdullah Mason on this show, right?
Okay.
Because that's the boxing I like to see. That's the fighting when it was coming on, when the Tyson, Ali's, the old school fighting that was real, that you really paid to go see.
Right.
And it is just to have somebody out of the city of Cleveland area that is really getting it done. He and his brothers all train together. It is good to see that occurring here in this city, and that it's homegrown.
Nice. Well, good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Keep an eye on his career. Tyvus, you're up.
All right, I've been waiting to get this off because this is sad that it's been bothering me since it happened. So the softball, everybody knows I did the softball, Cardell's charity event, softball game Friday. Well, I got to tell you how it went. So I'm on this team offense versus team defense. I'm on team defense. We come out there. I'm hyping us up, calling myself Jose Ramirez, Ken Griffey III is what I run. I went up to the umpire and said, "How you doing, Ken Griffey III? Nice to meet you." That's where I was at, right?
That's confident.
So I go out there. We go up 9-0 in the first inning. I'm talking about it. It's going beautifully. This is the best game. We about to go for the record, like 30-0. Well, I hate to tell you guys this, but we finished. The final score was 11-10, and we had the 10s, and it was a 7-inning game. Oof. We scored 1 run outside of the first inning. It was the most despicable thing I've ever been a part of in my life, the fact that we could not score. And we just watched the offense just chip away at it. And then how do we lose? We get to the last inning. It's tied game, 10-10, top of the 7th. We up first. I think we went 3 up, 3 down. They get up there, and what do? First batter, a walk-off home run.
Out of here.
And I thought that, now that I don't play sports anymore, I'm thinking, we're doing it for the kids. It's a good event. No, I was real life upset. I was pissed.
It's for the kids.
Like, wow.
It's for the kids.
No, you about to make me go Michael Jordan meme on you. I can't believe we lost. I was sick to my stomach that we lost that game. Like, and I haven't gotten over it. It's probably going to take a while. It's equivalent to the Warriors losing 3-1 to the Cavaliers. That's where it's at. I could not believe that we lost this game, and I'm still pissed off. So that's what it is.
What did Ohio State basketball players do for you?
Nothing.
I almost cursed. Not a thing. It's sad that you are an athlete like this and you can't play. You can't hit a ball. Like I get. Don't get me no. Yeah, slow pitch. We had people striking out on defense on slow pitch.
That's
embarrassing. It was unbelievable. It was rigged. I want to say that. Like, can I say that? It was rigged.
Okay,
I know
Trump.
we're supposed to keep. I know we're not supposed to chime in, but I can confirm Tyvus was very, very upset.
Yeah.
He came over. He goes, "That didn't just happen."
Yeah,
Cut the camera. That didn't just happen.
Still on his face.
How do you lose a game 11-10 when you score 9 in the first inning? That is just.
Bull, it was pathetic, man.
I mean,
it's pathetic.
I don't know how you slept last night.
Listen, I'm just gonna have to do it myself. Like, I'm about to put my name on the
Tyvus
line.
Powell charity
I'm just about to
softball game.
do. Our 9 is all Tyvus Powell. Everybody else just sit down. Don't even bat.
Handpick your players.
Sad.
Ringers.
My God. All right, well, Mike talked about being new to Cleveland, and, that was me 11 and a half years ago. Well, 11 years ago. And, it's not that often these days that my wife and I get to go out, because we had, one main babysitter. She was like a nanny for my son, and she just had a baby. So we have a couple, teenage girls that sometimes sit for my son who's 9 years old. But they, it's hard finding somebody. So my mom was in town this weekend. And because of that, my wife and I were able to go out to dinner and not have to pay anybody to stay with my son. So it was nice. It was nice, right? So we go out to dinner. I'm not going to say the name of the place because the experience was a disaster. So we go to.
That's a common thing.
We go to this restaurant. All right. First of all, they didn't even have half the thing. Half the menu was not available. It's a Saturday night. How do you have not half your menu not available? So I was really looking forward to this. The only reason we went there is because there was one thing in particular on the menu that I wanted. It was it was a goulash. I was like, I never eat goulash. I want this goulash. And they don't have goulash. You're a German restaurant. How do you run out of goulash? That's got to be a main staple. Again, I'm not going to say the name of the place, but so okay, they have no goulash. So I decided to get something else. And we're sitting outside, right? And there's some guy who was sitting inside in the bar, this old white dude who's got a mullet. All right, first of all, who has a mullet anymore?
Quinn Ewers, Texas.
Okay, so only weirdos have a mullet. And the mullet guy comes walking out, and he stands near us, and he's smoking a cigarette.
A square.
What's that?
A square. Squally.
That's what they used to call them. Squares.
I'm like, they don't have the food I want. They don't have comfortable chairs outside, and now this guy's smoking a cigarette. My wife's like, let's get the hell out of here. I'm like, yeah, let's get the hell out of here. Bull. So we just took off. I mean, we paid.
All right.
But then we took off. But the good news is we decided to not go home. We went to another restaurant.
Okay.
Flipside and Rocky River, shout out to them, because I had an awesome burger. My wife had an awesome burger, and we salvaged the night.
What is?
And then I got some Mitchell's.
What is goulash?
It's like soup.
It's
soup,
like a
stew.
beet.
They said that it's Hungarian.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. You're right. My bad. It's a German restaurant, and that is Hungarian. That's my bad. But like that's one of their main staples.
So without telling,
I'm not gonna say which
what
place.
city were you in?
I didn't want to say because there's not that many German restaurants around here. So I'm not going to say.
I've never heard of it.
It was a disastrous experience. I will never go back to that place again. And you're right, it is Hungarian, but that's one of their staples on the menu. Whether you're a German, Hungarian, what's the difference? They're all in the same part of the world. Have your goulash.
You just want good service, right? You want
my goulash.
You want good service, a good time.
The waitress was nice. I'll give her that.
Okay.
But
Step over.
we did eat the appetizers, and they were terrible. Ugh.
Good.
God.
Good night.
That's it. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Jay will be back tomorrow. G will be back tomorrow. Tyvus will not be back tomorrow. Brad will not be back tomorrow. He'll be back Friday. Tyvus will be back Wednesday. That's it, right?
That's it.
Mikey is
Aditi?
blue banana.
Aditi on tomorrow. Who else?
Sir Yacht.
And Sir Yacht. I didn't know who Sir Yacht was. I've recently found out who Sir Yacht was. I've seen him on Twitter. Apparently, he's got a massive following on TikTok, right? He's the TikTok guy.
We're going TikTok.
I don't know what the hell we're talking to him about, but we'll have some fun with Sir Yacht. We'll see you tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.